The 2014 Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge season started as it does every year, with a great race at Daytona International Speedway. But now all eyes turn to race 2 at historic Sebring International Raceway, a track where road racing's greatest legends have been writing history for more than 60 years. What will happen when 60-plus race cars take on Sebring? Find out right now on Fox Sports 1. From the familiar high banks of Daytona International Speedway, the 2014 IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge has unwrapped a completely unknown racing proposition among the orange groves of Central Florida. Welcome to round 2 of the 2014 season from Sebring International in Sebring, Florida. On a beautiful blue sky, breezy Florida day, the field of 59 cars is now on track, and we have a great race in store. There's a look at a track known throughout the world simply as Sebring. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Varsha, along with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader. Start with the proposition that Daytona and Sebring, though they both share the state of Florida, could not be more different as racetracks. Add in the fact that this is the first time the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge has ever raced here, and this race frankly stacks up as more unpredictable than ever. So where do we begin to pick a winner, Calvin?
Well, I think, Bob, first we need to reflect back to round 1 at Daytona. We had a great battle that day, but it really seemed to favor the BMWs. They finished 1 through 5 on the road in GS, 1-2 finish in ST, but since that time, they've had their wings clipped just a little bit in performance balancing. They're still strong here, but I expect many of the other manufacturers to come to the forefront here today. But Dorsey, this is a racetrack that many of these teams have not run here before, certainly in this series, and there's a lot to learn here at Sebring.
Well, as much as Daytona's a one-of-a-kind because of the high banks, Sebring's a one-of-a-kind because of the flatness of this racetrack. It's really hard to find your reference points around the racetrack because everything's on the same dimension, a one-plane racetrack. Then add in the tens of thousands of people that come here. They're allowed to drive around in their street cars, and they're only separated by you and the race car by a small wall. So the distractions here are a lot and many, for sure.
And you have the pavement changes from the concrete of the original Air Force Base runways to some asphalt, but even where it's smooth, Sebring International is rough. There's our starting grid across the top of your screen. Field of 59 divided into Grand Sport and Street Tuner. Let's turn now to our Corvette race analysis, Cal.
Well, first up, Camaro Corral. We've got 3 Z28s in the top 5. That's an awesome-looking race car. Had problems at Daytona. Expect them to be much stronger here today. Turner it around. They had the big win at Daytona, but then got DQ'd in post-race tech. A problem with the airbox there. They've qualified 18th here today. With that disqualification, it gave the very first series win to both Shelby Blackstock and Ashley Freiberg. Top talent. When you look at some of the factory drivers that will finish out this race, names like John Edwards, Rob Liddell, Bill Oberlin, it's going to be a shootout at the end.
Calvin talked about the strength of the BMWs at Daytona. Let's hear from a man who will be driving one today. Here's Brian Till.
BMW is so strong at Daytona, like you guys talked about, but here at Sebring, they are surrounded by pony cars on the grid. Camaro, Mustang, they're right there. John Edwards, Trent Hinman, great job in qualifying his second pole, but what's the strength of the BMW here? Maybe more importantly, what's the weakness? How are you going to win this race?
Well, we always know when we go to Daytona that's going to be strong for the BMW with 5th and 6th gears. Those are our money gears. So we came here, we're having to run 3rd gear in the hairpin. That's going to be our weakness. The Camaro and the Mustang have better torque getting up to speed, but we have a lot of momentum. So our key is going to be to maintain track position so that we can defend, because if we're in the lead, we can carry that momentum. But if we're behind, it's going to be hard to square off corners and get a good run on those other cars.
Fall Line's going to see if they can make it 2 for 2 for BMW in 2014, Bob.
All right, thanks very much, Brian. Now we'll turn to our Mazda news and notes. Dorsey, let's talk a little bit about the Street Tuner cars.
Well, Murillo Racing's BMW is sure off to a fast start. The number 56 BMW won at Daytona. Is qualified 6th here today. Good run for those guys. Hart Racing looking to rebound. The number 93 Honda, Chad Gunslinger and Michael Valiente qualified 2nd this weekend after a bad 31st finish at Daytona. Mazda dialed into Sebring. Well, they were anyway. 3 of them Miatas were in the top 4. But as Calvin said before, they met tech infractions. I don't count them out. Don't count the Mazdas out. They're fast cars driven by really good drivers. They're at the back. They'll be coming through.
Chris Neville is standing by with one of the drivers in the pole-sitting car in ST. Chris?
Chad Gilsinger and Michael Valiente started on the front row back at Daytona. Chad Gilsinger puts it on pole here at Sebring. And back at Daytona, Michael Valiente running in the top 5, gets taken out by Ryan Eversley going into the bus stop. Big hit, really big hit for Michael Valiente. But Michael, you've been here before in a Barber Dodge Formula car. First time here, Continental Challenge Tire. What are the things you're going to have to focus on in these cars?
Well, the track is really bumpy and it's really hard on the cars. So, you know, trying to get them to the end of a 2.5-hour race is really important. And for us being front-wheel drive, we're hard on the tires. So managing tires and brakes, we need a lot of yellow to get to the end on brakes.
Well, it might be the first time for Continental Tire Challenge here at Sebring, but we've got a guy down here in pit lane that's got a lot of laps around this track. Darren Law?
Yeah, Chris, you know, this being the first time that the Continental Challenge Series is here poses a lot of challenges for everybody. You know, the track is fast, it's bumpy, it's technical, they got 17 corners. Really, the biggest issue is going to be dealing with traffic and trying to pass cleanly. You know, the guy that crosses the finish line first is going to be the guy that has patience and the guy that has experience. So if nothing else, I know from experience, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be an exciting race.
I think you're absolutely right, Darren. Dorsey, we've talked about the track. Let's take a little closer look at how it lays out.
Well, dropping in, thanks to Google Earth from outer space, you'll find Sebring right smack in the middle of Florida. Orlando due north, Tampa off to the west coast there. Coming down into the racetrack itself, this 8th configuration is 3.74 miles in length with some 17 corners. This concrete poured back in 1942 is very rough, but it's been repaved right up through this section of the racetrack. This is all new asphalt down through here and through the back part. Indy cars test there a lot, but once you get to right here, that straightaway is all old concrete, and man, is it bumpy.
We're 60 years old and truly one of the world's iconic racetracks. There you see the field, completing one of 2 pre-race pace laps. Let's check out our onboard cameras. On board the number 26 ST Class Mazda MX-5. Randy Popes will start. Andrew Carbonell will relieve.
Randy's got so much experience. He has a ton of starts here. This is the 158 Billy Johnson. Normally a finisher in this series. He's going to be starting, so expect fireworks from him in these opening laps.
Coming to the green now. Pace car is off. 18-year-old Trent Hindman. His second career pole. He's in that red, white, and blue fall line BMW, and he will lead them down into turn 1.
Look at the run-bum machine. Nick Long, he qualified deep in the pack. He's looking to make some moves early in this race.
All those guys getting tied into the wall right there in turn 1. You can do this first lap because you're not up to speed yet.
Side by side here. Hinman on the inside, the pole sitter. Being pushed by Eric Curran around the outside in that new Z28. He loses grip just a little bit. Hinman takes the line.
He had the line all the way through that corner, Calvin. That helped him out quite a bit. A little bit wide right there. Not too bad. Oh, some contact with the rum-bum Porsche.
Yeah, the 07 car. The TRG Aston's in the mix.
Once you get down through the first couple of corners, the track narrows down remarkably. Hinman leading them down to the hairpin.
This racetrack today is very slippery. We've been noticing all morning long. They're about a second off what they ran yesterday, and the cars don't seem to have much grip. They really slide around a lot today.
Valiente spoke about tire degradation. You've got to look after these tires here. This concrete nature of this racetrack will literally chew them up if you abuse them here, particularly early in the stint. You've got to be patient here in these opening laps.
Curran in that dark blue Z28 Camaro looking left and right, but Hinman giving him no opportunity.
Quiet year for Curran and Aschenbach last year. Didn't get a win. Had the big win at Indy the year before. Here's a good battle. The Stevenson Camaros chasing down Billy Johnson.
Turn 13 right there. We used to call it the tower turn. That's where the old water tower used to be some years back for the people who like the nostalgia of the place.
These Continental tires just coming up to pressure, coming up to temperature now. It doesn't take long in the heat of the day here at Sebring.
And this is what I talked about. This is where they go back onto that runway, poured back in 1942. When they make this corner, you start just like a cheese grater down here.
It's hammered down on the long backstretch, leading to one of the trickiest corners anywhere, the 180-degree turn 17, the bridge turn.
I love and hate that corner at the same time. I don't think you can do it the same way twice ever. It is a tough corner.
Every time you come through there, you think, oh, you carry a little bit more speed. When you try and do that, the car just gives up on you. That's really hard, as you say, to find your way through these bumps. These cars will butt through this corner, and it's just a question of getting the power down early, but not scraping that wall on the outside.
Around onto the front straightaway to complete lap 1. Trent Hidman will lead Eric Curran, Billy Johnson, Matt Bell, and Andrew Davis.
Comes Matt Bell looking for the inside of Billy Johnson there. Two of the hard charges in this series.
See right there the bumps as you come off of that old part of the circuit onto the new paved part.
And you can see, too, if you put wheels off, you're going to create a huge cloud of dust obscuring the view of the drivers behind.
And that, of course, causes problems further down the road because this is, after all, Florida. That's sand out there. And when you bring it on the racetrack, well, it's real slippery.
You can use that to your advantage. Someone's getting a little bit close, just drop some wheels and take some grip away from them behind you.
I had a wreck like that, and I think it was Emerson Fittipaldi that did that to me in an IROC race, as a matter of fact.
Look at this stack up down into the brake zone for turn 7.
5 strong, nose to tail.
Trent Hidman, so impressive for his age, just 18 years old, took a pole at Lime Rock Park last year. Maybe a little bit fortunate with this one, but yesterday he absolutely earned it on speed, and everyone's talking about this young man. They're going to be a powerful pairing this year, he and John Edwards, as they go for that championship.
He's the real deal, Calvin. I mean, under pressure, it doesn't bother him a bit. I mean, for being as fast as he is, mature at 18 years old, I mean, he's going to be tough to beat.
Look at Matt Bell there in that blue and silver Camaro, jockeying around.
Picking up the ST leader now, Chad Gilsinger started the car from pole, leading Randy Pobst and Jeff Mosing.
These guys will never be separated by very much more than you see right there. They just run so close together throughout the entire event.
First time here for Chad. Michael did a few laps this week and gave him some pointers, but brilliant performance. He was second fast in qualifying. Then we had some tech infractions for some of the leading Mazdas, but so Gilsinger adopted the pole, but he is a very impressive driver, and he and Michael have had a lot of success over the last couple of years, having 2 wins back in 2012.
If you're not familiar with Sebring International Raceway, it's on the grounds of the Sebring Regional Airport, which began life as Hendricks Field, a World War II era concrete air base for training B-17 pilots.
That's another distraction, by the way, when you look over to your left and there's an airplane or a jet taking off right to your left about 50 yards away.
Stevenson teammates there. Battle for 4th position right now between Matt Bell and Andrew Davis. Things starting to settle down just a little bit. But again, this is all part of the learning curve for Trent Hidman, feeling this pressure from guys like Eric Curran, who have so much more experience, Billy Johnson, Matt Bell, now really a experienced veteran in this class of racing, and Andrew Davis, of course, a former GT champion.
This track is very, very busy all year round with driving schools, testing, and so forth. So even though Trent Hidman up there on point from pole is here for the first time racing these cars, he has lots of laps racing here at Sebring.
Well, believe it or not, it's a very good track to test at for a number of reasons. The roughness, for one, is a very good durability test for the car. Also, these corners here are very much like a street circuit. Half of the circuit, really 90-degree hard braking and point and shoot. The rest of the circuit is long sweeping corners, so you get a little of everything here at Sebring.
Look in the back of this pack here. Ashley Freiberg has really closed in on this lead pack here, coming off that brilliant win at Daytona. She is the real deal as well, Dorsey.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Certainly Shelby Blackstock thinks so. He told me, I mean, no, she's really fast and she's really good.
That's right. They shared the winning car in the season opener at Daytona.
Oh, that's up there.
Davis, problem.
And an opportunistic move by Ashley Freiberg to pick up 5th place from Andrew Davis.
That was smooth. She saw the problem happen and just timed it perfectly. Got up underneath there.
Tricky corner, that turn 13, if you get it wrong under the braking there.
There's a big bump. There's a really big bump right at the apex, and when you hit it with too much speed, it just launches the car up in the air, and you can't get any grip, and you end up out the outside wide.
And now Ashley goes on defense. Let's get down to the pit lane now, and Brian Till.
Guys, we talked about the strength of BMWs at Daytona, but we should talk about ST BMWs as well. Eric Foss standing here watching Jeff Mosing out on track, running 3rd right now. And Eric, you guys won at Daytona, the first win for yourself and for Jeff. What has that victory done for you guys as drivers? What's it done for this team?
Yeah, you know, coming into Murillo Racing and running with Jeff, I knew it was going to be a great opportunity, but I didn't expect us to be that strong right out of the box. Jeff's been a great friend, and I've really watched him progress over the years. And Ken Morrell has been built an amazing team for us to run with. So just super exciting. You know, we're looking to build on it if we can, but you know, it's a long season, so we'll do what we can to just try and stay up there and have a chance.
Yeah, you said earlier, yeah, it's great to have the victory, but let's not focus on it. We've got an entire season and championship ahead.
Good luck to them. The season got off to such a great start with the racing at Daytona, and we expect to see it all season long here on Fox Sports. As the action continues, Hinman and BMW on point. We'll take a break and return to Sebring International Raceway and more of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. On the internet. And a big hello to everybody watching on the internet out there. As you can see, lots of action early on here at Sebring. It's one of the TRG AMR cars off and on.
It's more difficult as the day goes on. More and off and on as there's more sand on the racetrack. This racetrack tends to, as it gets hotter outside, get greasy anyway. The morning times are clearly a second faster than the afternoon here. Of course, we taught here for so many years with Skip Barber Racing School. You know, we had a lot of time and laps around this place.
Yeah, that was my point about guys who spent a lot of time here, even if they didn't race. Thanks, Fran.
You know, it's so bumpy. I mean, you can, if you run this every day like we did, you can find a way around some of that stuff. And the guys that have never been here before are just trying to learn the line. And like I said, the distractions here are numerous with airplanes taking off and people partying and going on. And like I said, I've run here like 21 times. I've only been fired once.
That's all right. Well, you weren't trying hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is such a great place.
Curran wants to get that Camaro to the front for the first time this year.
They're glued together.
Yeah, they got a good package now, I guess, from what they had at Daytona.
Yeah. Well, I think particularly for that team, they didn't get the testing that Stevenson did, so they got their car pretty late.
They got the full engineering GM boys behind them, so I can't imagine that they wouldn't get things sorted pretty quickly. Trent Hinman continues to lead in his BMW, very impressive. We ride on board the number 26 ST car. Now this is one of the Mazdas that got chucked to the back trying to make his way through. And they are very fast, Cal.
Yeah, they certainly showed tremendous speed in qualifying, Dorsey, and shame that they got DQ'd from the qualifying positions, had some brake ducting infractions, so typically with those things, they're not massive performance gains. It's just an interpretation of the rules, so you'd expect the cars to still be quick even with the even with the fix.
The rules nowadays have gotten so finite. There's a nice. No. Well, he can thank the 26 for avoiding that attack.
Yeah, and that's a GS car getting in the way of the ST battle. 76 is a GS car.
No wonder it's Randy Popes, one of the best of the best. A great driving school instructor, or driving instructor is that. So he, I can hear him talking to himself like he would a student right then. It's too hot to get up. We'll melt if we do. Oh, there's a contact.
Straight out of the hairpin.
Yeah, we wondered.
It's not the hairpin.
No, it must be 10. Let's turn 10.
Yeah, the sharp right-hander.
Yeah. There's a gravel trap. Not a gravel. Oh, he's taking the left rear off of it. Left rear suspension jump. Yeah, we'll probably get a penalty. Yeah, he's broken left rear.
Again.
Oh, yeah.
Got a double. Got a bump and then a turn.
Hit right on the wheel, too. That one's done. I guess I should get a caution sheet started sooner or later. Hadn't
Leave
got to
yourself a
that.
lot of room.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. 2-pager. Piece of paper do I want to sacrifice?
Boy, he really tore that up. So that's just wrap coming off. Whatever Fran did feels a bit cooler now.
Yeah, it's a little breeze coming.
This is still 5th and 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to try the inside, and he's going to take the spot back, and Ashley gives him a little boot.
Here's those times I was telling you about. 4:30, 4:50.
4 minutes 30.
Yeah, 4:50. That's the equivalent.
That's a 2-lap penalty then, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
2 laps.
Wow, guys all over the place.
Yeah, all morning it's been real slippery like that.
You know, at the test, the guys were saying it seemed more slippery than ever.
We didn't get any rain to speak of, you know.
Yeah, but
Not that.
Nick Janssen asked about some kind of sealant he thought went down, but I wasn't able to get anything official.
No, I don't think. It was really windy. That might have blown some sand around.
They said when they tested here, there was some sealant over on the short course or
On the
something. that
asphalt
got peeled
part.
off. Yeah.
Action there as Andrew Davis solidifies 5th place. By the way, we're building a television show that will air Wednesday the 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. So those of you out there watching the live streaming, join us for the finished product on Wednesday the 19th at 1 Eastern. We'll be passing the hat shortly.
Inman's taken off a little bit now.
Yeah, it's got the pressure off him.
All right, now which of the
93, Gunslinger. Here comes the Mazda, though. Look at that. He's made all the way up from behind.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out what
That's
place
26,
he's in
I think. Now let's see where we can find him.
He's broken the top 10 yet?
Are we stuck with the timing? Doesn't
Nope.
show? Nope.
Yeah, McAleer's 9th.
Oh, McAleer started.
I don't think they want to go too fast here today. It's not straightaway speed. Unless it's a GS car, probably is.
I think it is a GS car.
There's a traffic jam.
I like those bright windscreen decals. Look out, oh! McAleer was going around. McAleer's up to 8th in class.
Yeah, if they get any more walking for tomorrow, it's going to be huge. It's already huge. Ooh, Mazda's loose. I wonder if they're going to penalize him for shortcut right there.
I don't know. That's how Ashley got passed by Davis. She went wide like that, and he just dove under her.
That's Mark Pombo. He's been loose the last 2 corners. He's dropped off.
Now Randog's caught him up.
Sure has. Honda had top end, too. Randy will be good in the infield here.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway, which held its first race on New Year's Eve in 1950 and has been the scene of so many firsts, so many historic and dramatic moments in motorsports. Still going strong here in 2014 as we welcome you back to round 2 of the 2014 Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge and the battle for the lead in the ST class.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of first, we're about to see a battle for first place there. Randy Popes just caught up to Chad, and they are getting after it.
Yeah, it's really tightened down because Chad had about a 2.5 lead. I think Randy was balked by a slower GS car there for a couple of laps and lost a lot of ground, but he has caught him up in a hurry. His fastest lap is about a 2.5 faster than Gilsinger, so you'd think with that sort of advantage, Dorsey, he should find a way by here.
Honda has top end power, though. Watch it pull away at the top end of this straightaway.
Critical momentum corner here, because as you can see, it's long, straight, and flat.
And
here's Chris Neville.
Yeah, Bob, just checked in with the team, and you can see that Honda does have some top end on the straightaways, but right now their team telling Chad, we got to take it easy on tires and we got to take it easy on brakes. Michael Valiente was telling me right before we got started that the big issue with this car is the brakes. They're stock components, so the pads and rotors are stock on that car, and he said they're going to need 30 minutes of caution just to get the brakes to the finish of this race.
That's been the same thing throughout the whole street stock career, even back when we were doing these things in 1988. The brake pads just can't go 3 hours or 2.5. You're going to run out of brakes at some time if you don't do some conservation.
And that may be the reason that Chad has had that lead eaten up by Randy Popes in such a short period of time. But Randy wants the lead here. He's got a very strong car. He's got a very strong teammate, and he dives it to the inside for turn 3. That looked easy.
Yeah, I think Chad let that happen. He's going to sit back there and cruise for a while from behind.
This race set for 2.5 hours. You see the time remaining at the top of your screen in the green box.
Chad runs a little bit wide there.
Yeah, as I say, he's letting them go. He's running off the track.
He's not taking it easy.
Hard thing to do to give up the lead, Dorsey, but when the team is saying you're not going to make it, you're not going to make it, whether it's fuel, brakes, or whatever, you have to listen. It's really early days right now in this race.
I mean, they literally run out of brake pad to where the backing plate starts rubbing on the rotor, and sooner or later will weld itself to the piston. We've had to do that so many times, and you're just a sitting duck at the end of these races.
As the running order scrolls across the top of your screen, the blue boxes are the GS, the Grand Sport competitors. The yellow boxes are the Street Tuner division. Drop a little further back now. Field stretching out. Now, a couple of cars went to the back due to technical infractions in inspection. One of those was the number 5 of Stephen McAleer, and there he is, coming forward with a bullet. Currently up to 5th in class. He started 31st.
Yeah, like I said, don't count those cars out. Those Mazdas are really fast. Even going to the back, they have a lot of speed.
Yeah, McAleer's been really impressive when he burst on the scene last year. Had a couple of wins last year at Coda and at Watkins Glen. So this is a really hot team, and they've got some really strong driver lineups this year.
That first race he won at Coda, Calvin, you and I were both, we knew he was the real deal there.
That was awesome.
It's a great race.
More last lap dramatics.
Not only impressive as the speed that he's showing right now, but also the patience to deal with this traffic and force his way to the front. Up in the top 5 in really short order of time.
Will Nonamaker and Tyler McQuarrie going door to door there as they swing onto the back straightaway. Let's get down to Brian Till.
You guys were talking about traffic. I'm down in the TRG pits. They're trying to keep track of their 2 Aston Martins, and one of the ways they do it is by looking at this screen here from timing and scoring. You guys were talking about McAleer. Well, let's go to the blue dots, which are the ST cars. There's your leader, and there's McAleer. Talk about traffic. Look at this. 59 cars entered in today's event. This is what it looks like from an aerial view on the racetrack. You can see just how busy it is. This is how the team keeps track of their cars. Kevin Buckler and his team looking for their 2 Aston Martins. There's the 09 right there. There's the 07 of Max Riddle. There's the leader. Just another way that these teams keep track of their cars, their drivers, and help them through that traffic that you guys are talking about.
It's like a centipede chasing Pac-Man, kind of.
It's really important to know your track position, because if you get cautions, there's wave-by procedures, so knowing where the overall leader is if you're an ST car is really, really important. So lots of information there, and there's some of the guys are really analyzing throughout the course of this race. The Stevenson Camaros look like Davis has settled back down again and caught back up to Matt Bell. And they've got back on the rear bumper of Billy Johnson here.
Yeah, the trick is to mount your attacks in segments. You know, you run hard for a while, see what you can get. If you can't get anything, then you back it down a little bit. Let the car breathe. Let the tires get a little less heat in them, brakes a little less heat in them.
I would imagine because of all the different challenges all the way around this 3 3/4 mile racetrack with its 17 very different turns, it's only logical that your car is going to be better in some places than in others.
That's another point too. I mean, by now these drivers know where the car is at its best. And you're right, Bob, the 2 ends of the racetrack are totally different. Your car's going to be good on one end, not so good on the other.
Chris Neville is standing by with a co-driver of Eric Curran in the 01.
Yeah, Lawson Auchenbach likes the sight of Eric Curran running up there in second place. Lawson, back at Daytona, it really looked like a BMW parade at the end of this race. These Camaros this year, Stevenson and the CTS, brand new out of Pratt & Miller. You guys were working some bugs out at Daytona. Are you finally getting those cars tuned up?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's anytime you bring a new car to a track, there's some teething issues, there's some things you have to work through. But I got to say hats off to the CTS Autosport guys. Team Chevy Camaro Z28R has been fast all week. We've made a lot of changes since Daytona, really narrowing in on the setup and where we got to be. But so far, so good. Eric's just kind of managing everything right now. It's this track and can be pretty tough on some tires and brakes. So we need to save it to the end, and looking good so far.
Prior to the race, all I heard was we were going to have lots of cautions. We've been green since the drop. You surprised?
Yeah, a little bit. Not going to lie. You know, this place is so big that, you know, once the guys kind of get stretched out a little bit over a couple laps, you can go for some pretty long green flag runs. So we'll see what happens. I don't foresee it being green flag the whole way, nor do I really ever see a race go green flag the whole way. But it's actually, I think, pretty good for us, so we can kind of keep the engine cool, keep him out of some dirty air and so forth. So like I said, we're looking pretty good right now, and we're excited.
Yeah, but I think this big green flag run we're having right now is throwing some of these strategists for a loop here. I think they were thinking it was going to be short little sprints throughout the race.
It's not about being ultimately quick. It's also about planning your race and racing your plan. Trent Hinman leads the GS forces. Randy Popst on top in ST. We'll take another break on a beautiful day in Central Florida and return to Sebring. Seeing a lot of really interesting helmet styles and designs up and down the pit lane. Is there a new wave of technology on that front?
There's a bunch of new helmet manufacturers back again. You know, you've got the Japanese ones are out there. You still got Bell. You've got
where are these Stilo helmets that Brian was talking about from?
German,
They're
I think.
German.
And you know, in the Tudor series, everyone has to run the carbon fiber. You don't have to in Conti.
So I can only run Conti. I'm not spending $1,000 on a helmet. I'm sorry.
1,000, try $4,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Buy a car instead.
I think maybe the Stylo is cheaper, but like an Arai carbon, I think it's $4,500.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, some of the high-end stylos are $4 to $5,000 too.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, a bunch of guys in Cup are wearing them now.
So, there's someone who does like a less than $3,000. I thought it was them, but maybe it's Bell or someone.
What was that? Were those defogging elements across the? Why would you need them here?
You wouldn't. I mean, that's just
rain. That's just the windshield we had, huh?
Yeah, it's rain.
Yeah.
If it fogs up from the inside, that's on the V8, I would think.
Yeah, that's the 158.
Yeah, they got a problem with fogging because the headers get wet and then the fog comes up through the panel.
Yeah.
And you can never get it to fog without those things. Calvin can tell you.
Remember back in the days when you guys had
Yeah,
sticks and squeegees in the cockpit?
Oh. Yeah, that was no fun.
Traffic.
50 car didn't look like it was happy at all that time.
Yeah. Don't have to rush it, Trent.
Ran there once with Oldsmobile, and they didn't have a defogger system. The windshield wiper at speed didn't touch the outside screen.
Yeah.
And they had an inside windshield wiper, so the outside is all greasy, so you can't really see anyway. The inside is all fogged up, and then the inside windshield wiper fell out and jammed between the steering wheels.
My mirror did that.
So I told that, they said, stay out for a couple of laps till like, we can get some bits. I was like, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
It's like getting out of the shower and you didn't turn the fan on in the morning. You know, like, keep going. I'm like, keep going.
I can't come in. I can't see.
I remember that goofy setup
like,
you had.
Help me find pit lane.
Right. Those are the LaRues.
He has beat the front balance right off that car with that tire. I don't know if they can screw it back on or whatever.
Looked nice for a while.
Yeah, that's a miserable deal when you can't see.
I just can't believe you guys are doing it. I interviewed somebody, might have been here a million years ago. I said, how'd you keep going? He said, well, I looked out the window at the yellow line, you know, along the edge of the track and just followed that.
Fallows and I had a race at Watkins Glen on the long course in the rain where you couldn't see anything. You had to look. You literally had to look out the side window to see where the side of the racetrack was.
I love it when you have two brothers in the car, and so the starting driver is the same last name as the closer.
Yeah.
Can't screw it up, Bob.
Well, that's true, right?
He's one of those guys.
As long as I don't call him Doris, I'm okay.
Call him LaHoo. I think they're the guys who almost got in fisticuffs at Ohio, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Somebody came charging into their pits full of steam over something.
I do remember that,
But he was a big guy, so the little guys all stayed up on top of the pit box.
Yeah, you need your entourage.
That's right. This is
fourth. Matt Bell got around DJ. So Johnson's down to fifth.
You know, these GS cars, it looks like they're so easy to get set in motion once they're in the corner like that. If you just touch the steering wheel, the back end wants to kick on you.
Yeah. Do you have a track map with the corner names on it? I can't find one.
Not names, I got numbers.
Yeah. I thought I'd throw some of the corner names in there since they're so cool.
I do, actually. I don't know if you can read
in the
it.
book.
I don't know if you can
great.
read it, but that's got names on it in white.
Oh, yeah, I can't read that.
Yeah, I was having trouble with it, too. That old hairpin made these two corners here so fast. The S's up here. They were, you could do them flat, but man, you better be up on the wheel.
Thank you, sir.
It's messed up. That must have been that flat tire car.
Yeah, the LaRue brothers.
Yeah.
The four. And we don't have the right tool to fix it.
Metric, I told you.
The McAleer is up to third, and Macquarie to fifth.
It's not really standard. Wentworth, remember those tools?
Whitworth.
Whitworth, yeah. Whitworth, that's what it is. Those didn't, that was a non-common size too. It wasn't anything.
Our colleague on Formula One, Steve Matchett, would tell you You'd be amazed at how few tools you need to work on a modern Formula One car. At least this was a couple of years ago when I last worked with him. And that's deliberate in the design of the car. What was it like in your day when you were wrenching on things, Calvin? Did you need an extensive toolbox?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It wasn't standardized. I mean,
okay. Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway and round 2 of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge for 2014 here on Fox Sports. I'm Bob Varsha with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader down in the pit lane. Chris Neville, Darren Law, and Brian Till. There's your race leader, 18-year-old Trent Hindman. Fall line BMW started from pole, had a brief tussle with Eric Curran's Z28R Camaro. Right now, he has motored off into a race of its own. Let's bring you up to speed on the highlights or lowlights, depending on where you're sitting thus far.
Here we see a little bumper tag here, and Patrick Seguin gets turned and into the fence. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Left rear suspension damage, and this, a shredded right front tire, which did significant damage to the car.
So the LaRue brothers from the Dominican Republic, I believe they're still working on that car down in the pit lane. Hinman continues on his way with all the talk about strategy and so forth. Given the lead he's got right now, wonder if the crew's not telling him, okay, back off a little bit. Let's get down to the pit lane and Brian Till.
That's an interesting thought, Bob, because a lot of people down here are very confused, just like Chris Neville was talking about earlier, at the lack of full course cautions. They thought they would have seen some by now. For the fall line team, they felt like with 2 full course cautions, they could make it on just 1 stop. The other thing about the fall line BMWs and any GS BMW team that I spoke with, rear tires were a concern, and actually different drivers on the same team would have different strategies. Ashley Freiberg said, I'm going for it because I think it's going to be a series of 5- and 6-lap sprints before we have another full course caution. I spoke to other drivers who said, I'm going to lay back, let the race come to us, and have a good car to hand over to our teammates. So different strategies down here, and we have not seen those full course cautions that we thought we would have.
And I'm really surprised because a couple of laps ago, Hinman laid down the fastest lap of this race, and on that particular lap, he's over a second clear of the rest of the GS field. Now, I know that that team really struggled with tire degradation when they tested here last month in terms of after 4 or 5 laps, the tires were just going away by 2 or 3 seconds just because of the nature of the racetrack. Nothing wrong with the tires, it's just this concrete really chews them up. So they have done an awesome job in really turning that car around for the longer runs, Dorsey.
Yeah, no, the other part of the thing, other than just the degrading of the tire due to the racetrack, is that this racetrack, as you said, Bob, is used almost every single day in testing. There is so much material out there, it's unbelievable. You get a lot of punctures when you drive at Sebring. We haven't seen a single one, but and that's a lot to say for the Continental Tires because you're running over stuff all the time.
Right. And given all the different kinds of cars who test here, it's very busy with the newly renamed Verizon IndyCar series. They test a lot here on just a small portion, the short course.
Yep.
So you'll have one kind of rubber on one part of the track and another kind elsewhere. And the two do not necessarily get along all the time.
I was walking around yesterday out on the racetrack before the a class went out and finding nuts and bolts. And I mean, you don't have to go or look very hard to find stuff out there.
Well, it's a busy race weekend. There's so many different support series as well as the main two to race the 12-hour race here on Saturday and all the practice and qualifying for it. But different rubber going down, not just Continental Tires running here this weekend. So it's all about getting your car to work under these very strange conditions.
58 of Billy Johnson has fallen back to 6th place. Chris Neville, what's going on?
Yeah, Bob, he started up in 3rd, reporting to the team right now that he's having a clutch issue in that car. Now, we talk about these cars having a lot of stock components. The clutch in that car is actually a race clutch, and the transmission does have some upgraded parts. So it's a stock transmission, but it is beefed up parts in that transmission. Talking to Larry Holt from Multimatic, he said they're hoping for a caution right now, try and get him to pit lane, add some clutch fluid to that car and see if there's a leak somewhere that they can deal with. But Dorsey, what's it like to try and shift one of these cars when that clutch isn't working?
Well, it's hard on these big cars like that because the gears in the transmission are in a street car are pretty big gears. They're meant to last forever. Ultimately, you're not like a race car gearbox where the gears are really light. So with a heavier mass that's rotating around, you know, matching gears and so forth, you've got to be spot on. And it's really, really difficult if you have no clutch. The clutch is like the buffer zone that helps you out just a little bit if you're off on your downshift on the rev.
There's the 14 going by for 6th place. That's Brad Yeager in the Nissan. The order right now through the top 10 in GS: Trent Hinman, Eric Curran, then Matt Bell, Andrew Davis, who's gotten ahead of Ashley Freiberg. Billy Johnson is now behind Brad Yeager. They are 6th and 7th, Yeager and Johnson. Then Jade Buford, who we're used to see starting on pole here, or just about anywhere on the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Lucas Baez and Max Riddle. Riddle, another great young driver from British Columbia in Canada. If you were with us for the season opener in Daytona, we talked about the wave of young driving talent coming into this series as they develop towards true professionals.
It's good to see, really, you know, to see the guys as young as Trent is, 18 years old, to be able to get out here and get a, you know, this is as close to a professional ride as you get. I mean, some BMW factory car, he's making a name for himself. And Cal, that's a huge opportunity.
Well, it's a great ladder system because you have guys, you have the finishers, the factory drivers are in this field here today, as we stated in the open. And then you've got these youngsters coming in and they're learning their craft really, really quickly, as is proven by Trent Hinman here today.
As Randy Popes leading the ST class over Stephen McAleer, Chad Gilsinger, Tyler McQuarrie. Jeff Mosing is 5th, then Corey Fergus, Will Nonamaker, Derek Jones, Mark Pombo, and Tyler Cook. Another break. We'll be back. Join us here at Sebring.
Was it the 5 or the 3 on the pole, Rick? In ST that got DQ'd. Which way round was it?
I think it was 5 over 3. Don't quote me on that.
I think you're right. Actually, this might be the old sheet. Yeah, you're right. It was 5, Rick. I got it here. It's yesterday's sheet.
Is that the 30? No, we've got a couple of cars parked out there.
Yeah, one was the Phoenix 32. 35.
You know what the other one was? Thank you, my man. Again, I hope all of you watching live streaming of this event are enjoying it. Don't forget to send in your signed waivers. Can't tell anybody what happened before Wednesday at 1 p.m. on Fox Sports 1 when the show will actually air.
No tweeting.
And no, don't instant message us asking us to propose to your girlfriend or whatever. You know, that kind of stuff used to happen all the time. Just under 150 remaining.
Hey, Dorsey.
Yeah, man.
Went over to the infield earlier, and about every 100 feet, somebody was asking where you were.
Oh, yeah?
What's up with the following over there?
They want me to all come play.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke about it. You could probably go out there and find race cars from all 6 or 7 decades, you know, pieces of them behind the arm code. You could probably find a few Dorsey mementos here and there, too.
I'm sure of it.
Pretty quiet performance by Boris as he...
Who's in the Turner car that's going nuts?
That won't help.
I was just about to say.
Yeah,
just broke the left front.
Yeah.
Bob, when you say Dorsey mementos, you mean race cars?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, no.
I don't think Billy Oakland's going to be impressed with it.
Yeah, well, that was trying to happen for about 2 laps now.
Really?
That's what I was saying. Who's driving this thing is all out of control. I didn't need to ask though.
Can you guys see from the pit lane what's going on? You got monitors?
Yeah, actually, I can. I'm stopping by different pit stalls and watching them.
Okay.
Comes a wounded 96.
Very much.
There goes the tire.
Yeah, they have a bunch of.
Left front's gone. Suspension's broken, 96 left front.
They got a bunch of fathead style.
Might be distractor face.
There's one on their pit trolley too. There's 97.
That takes that one out. Watch this thing twitch under braking right here, right there.
One kind of turns in.
I wonder if he almost got into the ABS and then
I think he did.
Reduced pressure because he seemed to speed up.
Oh dear, that's not a good sign.
Well, we don't know which car it came from. You sure? Thought it might have been from an Alpha in 1962.
That's not good when springs are laying around out there.
Yeah, just ask Felipe Massa.
Inner fender panel.
Used, but cheap.
That one's had it.
Got some bits and pieces out there now.
Oh, look at that chunk. Bumper cover.
Not sure I really understand the reasoning behind this.
Helps you catch fire here.
Well, he's going to do damage to the chassis. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
he's rubbing on the chassis right now.
What's the point in trying to get that back?
Is the right rear spinning?
Maybe he doesn't realize how bad the damage.
Left front's was getting close.
You heard the tires lock up a little bit.
Squeal. You know what? When that BMW twitched down there, that's where that bump I was talking about in the brake zone now.
Yeah.
Just a really vicious bump right when you're braking kind of hard right before you release pressure.
Yeah. Wonder if he just, because of that, he got into the ABS and then
I think it did.
Release the pressure on him.
It's Buford passing Johnson for another spot.
I don't remember it being that way before, but I haven't been raced here, so. Kerry Euro was telling me about it too.
How far in are we? 45 minutes in.
45 in.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Good apex. What are you thinking, 55 minutes to an hour
Yeah.
maybe? Bing. They're done. This one's setting up to go to the infield.
You're going to document the 96 collision and show how it happened. Yeah. Okay.
Back at Sebring International Raceway in round 2 of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge, and there you see the continuation of a brutal start to 2014 for the Turner Motorsports number 96. The car took the checkered flag in the season opener in first place and then was disqualified due to a post-race technical infraction. And now it sits forlornly in the team pit box with a lot of damage, and here's how it happened.
Coming down in the hairpin turn, as Boris said, behind the wheel. He gets on the brakes. There's a little bump there. I'm not sure if it released hitting the ABS, but he got in the side of John Ferrano, our 2012 GS champion. Let's take another look here as Boris tries to get this wounded BMW back to pit lane. He probably didn't know how much damage was on that race car, thinking points for Billy Orblin, but a lot of damage to that machine. No hurry, Bill. It's going to take those boys a while, I think.
I think they're going to go behind the wall with the car. I don't know why they put him in there.
Here's your race leader, the number 46 BMW of Trent Hinman, who put it on pole.
It took a vicious little hop there like a shock absorber wasn't doing its job.
Continuing to stretch his lead now. It's up to just over 7 seconds. You saw the pressure he was on in the early laps. He stretched it out to about 4 seconds, and then in traffic and just a really good pace. This last lap, he's about a second clear of everyone else in this GS field. Just tremendous performance by Trent and by the team in getting the setup for this long run. This is a full fuel stint. These cars normally go 50 to 55 minutes, so we're approaching that mark here. No cautions yet today, so this is a full fuel run, and he still has pace in the race car.
You see right there in the brake zone, where right before he gets to where you release the pressure off the brake, there's developed a really big bump that hadn't been there before. I think the asphalt is kind of settled in, and if you don't release brake pressure before you get to the bump, what tends to happen is that the front end gets slide as it comes off the rebound of the bump, and then you lock up, and that's kind of right where Boris had his problem.
Is that unusual for Sebring? Dorsey, you've been coming here and racing for many, many years. Is the track different every few years?
That's a thing that's developed that wasn't there for sure, because they paved that. Of course, that's one of the new configurations. The last configuration, going from the old hairpin to this hairpin, that's all new asphalt they put in. When I drove it last, it wasn't a bump there, but of course I drove here last year in the 935 for John Paul Jr., and that bump darn near caught me out too. So it's something that has developed in the past few years anyway.
We're past the 45-minute mark in this race, which is what you have to do in a driving stint to get points here today. So if anyone decides to take a pit stop now, they will have sufficed that rule in terms of gaining points. So that's all part of the strategy too. But right now, these GS cars are a little bit thirstier, of course, than the ST, which have less horsepower. These guys are getting to the fume stage in terms of how much gas is left in the tank.
And we talk about strategy. Remember, Chris Neville and Brian Till spoke earlier from the pit lane about what these teams expected in terms of yellow flags and how they haven't gotten the ones they expected to have by now. Keep in mind, this is the first year this series has been here.
He's coming in.
And he's in. Race leader is in. So all the information these teams are gathering now is new to them, aside from some tests.
See him there slowing it way down, then he kicks the pit lane speed limiter in, and this will start a domino effect, because if there's a yellow now, some of these cars that stay out will be hurt because pit lane will be closed. So it's a long road down here at Sebring to that 4-line box. Meanwhile, Curran is in. Chris?
And Eric Curran running second place, handing over to Lawson Oschenbach. This team going to take a look at these Continental tires coming off the car. The key here was for Eric Curran to really take care of the car, give Lawson Oschenbach something to run in this race. And this team just really feeling like they're just starting to scratch the surface with tuning this car. A lot to learn with these new Pratt & Miller built Camaros. Brian?
John Edwards taking over for Trent Hinman, and a little bit of a problem because they've got a disabled car that's being pushed down pit lane. That held him up a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if it holds Edwards up on the way out. And then right behind him, the team car, the 48, Ashley Freiberg climbing out, and Shelby Blackstock climbing in. These BMWs, they have run well here, just like they did at Daytona. And Calvin, as you said, tire wear, it just doesn't seem to have been the issue that they were concerned about.
No, and that's a big change, because everyone's really concerned. There you see both cars have been released and the gap looks similar. So even though the 4-line car may have been balked a little bit, didn't seem to affect their performance on pit lane. In fact, they may have even stretched it out a little bit. And they're really one of the top-notch teams in this series, and they practice daily to make sure they get these pit stops right. Here we see Shelby Blackstock. Can he make it 2 for 2 in this 2014 season?
Hood up on the 158. Remember, they were having clutch problems. Chris, what's going on?
Well, both Multimatic Mustangs were in here. The 15 serviced and back out. Scott Maxwell taking over for Jade Buford. The 158 still sitting here with the hood up. This team taking a look at that clutch fluid. They added fluid a moment ago. I don't see anything dripping out the bottom of the car. So while they put new Continental tires on and filled it up, they're still trying to figure out what the deal with the clutch is.
Well, guys, I tell you, it's a long, long pit lane, and pit lane speed limit, as we have a car going off the track here. Pit lane speed limit's 45. It's hard to go that slow if you want to think of it that way. And a couple cars have been busted for speeding on pit lane, so they'll get stop and goes.
Speaking of getting busted, that's Dylan McIvern. They started at the back, one of three ST cars that were sent to the back for various problems with technical inspection following qualifying, and it looks like the 10 car is done.
So Andrew Davis, who led a lap there, is now leading the two Stevenson Camaros in. And you know Mike Johnson, who leads this group, he's always on top of the strategy, so you can't afford to stay out there. You're just going to lose that buffer that you have. Darren?
Yeah, both the Stevenson cars are in. Both Andy Lally and Robin Liddell are getting in. This is routine timing for them. Andy was telling me earlier that they can guesstimate 50 minutes on a tank of fuel, which means 2 stops. They are so surprised that there's no yellows. They need some yellows to make it to the end. The other issue is you'll see these guys, their lap times have slowed down a bit, and they're a little concerned. This is the hottest it's been the entire time they've been here all weekend, and so motors are running a bit warm, so they're being a bit conservative and making sure everything goes well.
Yeah, I think at this stage for that group, they just want to get the car to the finish and learn as they go. I mean, it has so much potential, this race car, but didn't get a bunch of testing. Did probably about 5 to 6 days pre-season, but, you know, race miles are totally different. But Billy Johnson had a good start to this race, but had problems later in the run, Chris.
Yeah, and his teammate Ian James got behind the wheel of the 158. The Multimatic crew was able to push that car, get it going, so back out on the racetrack. But, Billy, how difficult is it to drive one of these cars without a clutch?
Man, for modern transmissions with synchro mesh gearboxes, you have to use a clutch. And without a clutch, it just takes forever for those little synchros to line up and drop into gear. So on upshifts, where you're at red line, you have to wait till the engine slowly gets back down to the next RPM to match to get into the gear. Downshifts are a little easier because you're starting off on a lower rev and you rev up for a rev match, but you're just waiting forever to get a lot of the gearbox to sync up speed-wise. But we had a great run in the 158 Multimatic Miller car until that happened, so a little bummed out that we ran into that issue.
Well, they might not be able to challenge for the win, but hopefully they can keep it in the top 10. Brian?
Well, Trent Hinman impressed a lot of people with his second pole position this weekend, but Trent, I think maybe the most impressive thing was the drive. You seemed to pull away from the field. You guys talked about tire degradation earlier and being worried about it. Doesn't seem to have been an issue.
You know, since we were here for the test, we definitely learned a lot about how the tire acts with the track, and big shout out to Continental on the other hand for really helping us out figuring out the tire situation. But overall, car was great. Full Line gave me a great car. You know, just big thanks to all the guys. They really made it easy for me this weekend. Also big thanks to our partners, Trimtex, Sarago Nozimo, Atlas Acon, and DFL Interiors. You know, without those guys, we wouldn't be here right now. You know, full-on team effort for sure. I know that's a little cliche, but, you know, definitely worked hard to develop a car that would be able to act that well.
And he says he worked hard, but look at this, guys. He's not even sweating. He just got out of the car. Impressive drive.
Bob is sweating more in the booth.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just reading copy.
Further proof, if any were needed, that youth is wasted on the young. We'll take a break and return. More from Sebring. I want to talk with you a little bit, Dorsey, about that gear matching business Billy Johnson talked about. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ashley did a nice job again.
Yeah. Where'd she come from? Anyway?
She did Star Mazda.
What's her background?
Mazda.
She was a Skippy grad, wasn't she? Ashley Freiberg.
2 cars pulled off back
Good
there.
job.
Did she?
She won some races in the Skip Barber Championship.
She won at
Good for
Watkins
her.
Glen in 2013 in GT3 Cup Challenge.
She's not at her first rodeo.
Surely not.
Good little dice. What are you going to do? Oh, he's being motioned by.
There's 2 cars parked up against the wall right back there. I don't know what they are, though.
One of them is the 10, I think, is the
They just
the
pulled
number
it
10
over.
in ST. I don't know who the other one
Somebody's
was.
slow up in front of us here. These guys are about to catch him.
So these guys just
That
go
car.
from strength to strength. Edwards is now 3rd with the 2 Stevenson cars pitting.
76 is really slow.
Oh boy, we've seen this happen
Oh.
before here at Sebring.
3, 2.
What's that even doing out there?
Take off. It might have landed there.
Yeah, you're right. Good point. Okay, now what do I do? So layover. Yeah, right.
The Malaysian Air.
Yeah. There it is.
Okay.
Now he'll get yelled at.
Our best man. Business.
They're behind concrete.
I think it knackered it.
plastic bag to get sucked up into somebody's radiator. All you folks watching on the internet, I'm sure some of you are at work, so make sure you have your screensaver handy in case the boss walks by.
It's not too bad right now, I don't think. It seems a little bit better than it was. Yeah, I think it's right.
John up to second. He passed Carter or Carter pit?
It's not supposed to be crazy hot tomorrow, is it?
Boat. Yes. Dear, oh dear. That's lighting over. That's what that is.
Yeah. Getting ready for the dark race tomorrow.
Yeah.
You guys follow Rally at all?
No.
Where Robert Kubica?
Yeah, I saw a big flip last week.
Oh, man, he has flipped everywhere. He crashed in Sweden.
Yeah.
He's really, this guy with so much ability, but he wanted to be in Rally after he had his terrible accident. It ended his Formula One career, and it's doing its best to do even more damage.
Yeah, I saw that flip last week.
A lot of people watching the stream.
Oh, are they? Yeah. Cool.
Thanks for the shout out, guys. Everyone who tweeted.
Yeah.
Enjoying being here.
I just love
So
this
somebody is listening. We love that.
Yeah. There's our rating. So Popst, McAleer,
That little
Quarry.
car is paddocked up by us on the other end. At Nismo. Nissan.
We've been having some drama with it, but they showed some speed this weekend. But
the car should be quick. I mean, on paper it should look.
Had ABS issues. They've had a stumble in the engine, gearbox issue. But it's early days.
Little pits that puts the 46 back on the point.
At PBIR, we had one of those Skyline all-wheel drive twin turbo things.
Yeah.
God, is that thing fast?
Yeah, the GTR that's parked out here in the Nissan area is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty darn quick.
It's also about 175 grand.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it. More and more pitting.
That time.
Coming up on 1:30 to go.
So Jim Johnson with the Rebel Rock, he's running cars everywhere. He's running them over on our side, running this thing. He's running, I don't know how many cars.
Life is good.
Yeah, I don't know how many cars his garage maintains, but it looks like 4 or 5 at least.
90 to go.
Another hour and a half. Rick, remember when they put that crossover bridge in over there by Skippy, the old Skippy place, where we go across the top of the bridge one lane at a time? Yeah, we were here when they put it in. Yeah, it's one. Yeah, that's the one I mean.
Okay.
I think old Dobbin wants the way by Lally here.
Certainly close enough.
Yeah. This car looks more hooked up. He's carrying more apex speed than Andy.
I wonder if Andy's tires are off a bit. Get a run here at him, maybe.
Back at Sebring International Raceway in round 2 of the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. Legendary Sebring International Raceway. With Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader, I'm Bob Varsha. Down in the pit lane, Brian Till, Brian Till, Chris Neville, and Darren Law are on patrol. There's John Edwards, who has taken over from his co-driver, Trent Hinman, who put the car on pole. The pit activity has continued, so you're going to hear the names of the closers now that the starters are changing out.
I think at this stage, because they went so far on that first stint, I mean, you know, there's a long time still left on the clock, like basically a minute 40, minute 45. They know it's going to be 2 full stints essentially, so I think it allows you to actually run the tires a little bit harder, Dorsey. It's not like, oh, we may need to stretch it to an hour. You're pretty much going to run that 50-minute stint, you know what I mean? So I think they know they're going to get a fresh set of tires. There's no way they're going to keep these tires on for the rest of the way, so it allows you to maybe abuse the tires a little bit more. This is a great battle going on here between Robin Liddell and Andy Lally.
Looks like Robin has more speed than Andy. He went by, but not at the risk of, you know, getting a hold of bumping each other.
Down to the pit lane and Darren Law.
Hey guys, after talking with Matt Bell, he just got out of the car. They're, you know, it's a brand new car. They're still in the development stages, and they're really concerned about temperature. If they run in traffic, which is quite a bit, the motor gets up to about 230. He has to literally pop out and run in clean air to get it down. He says it comes down at most down to 220, but they're never running in very clean air. The other thing that was allowed, if you look at the front of the Camaro, there was a black bar going across a radiator opening that the series allowed them to cut and open up holes because of the temperature issue. So it's going to be tough. They're going to have to really monitor it, and it'll be an interesting race for them trying to deal with that.
Well, surprisingly, we had a cold front run through here yesterday, brought some rain, and the temperature today is not hot. So if they have 240 as a water temperature on a day like this, they got trouble coming.
Well, that may be why Robin Liddell is looking pretty racy and wants away by Andy Lally, because sitting that close, that is not going to help the air getting to that front radiator grill and cool that Chevy engine. So
yeah, as you say it, he backs away. Look.
Right. It seemed unusual. Dorsey, before we went to break, we heard Billy Johnson talking about matching revs in a gearbox with the clutch acting up. Are the drivers doing that strictly by ear?
Yeah, pretty much by ear, by feel. What makes it hard, what Billy was talking about, was these are street car gearboxes with synchronizers in them. Now, Porsche runs their race car gearbox with synchronizers in it too. But you got to push through that synchro. So when on an upshift, you got to let for the engine revs to die out to get into the next taller gear. And you have to match that pretty closely. Otherwise, those synchros really drag hard. You know, the downshift's a lot easier because you're revving the engine up to go in the next gear. It'll flop right in there. But upshifts are painstakingly slow without the clutch.
You don't want bits and pieces floating around in the gearbox. If you open, oh, that was tight there.
Yeah, it's very tight.
Sure, if that was a message from Robin Liddell, or if he just washed out wide there on the exit of that corner.
That's Tyler McQuarrie in the 3rd place car in the ST class.
Yeah, he won't have liked that very much.
Well, Tyler certainly doesn't want to slow down when you're battling at the sharp end of the field in ST. You don't want to give up too much track time just to let the faster GS cars through. So that's the synergy of this race. There's a lot of different things going on at the very same time.
The ST pack is like a bumblebee nest. You know, they're just always running on top of each other. And you don't want to get separated because it's too hard to make up ground.
They sound like bees, too, with that distinctive Mazda MX-5 engine note.
Spoke to Robin Liddell this week about running 2 different classes. He's done it before, but he's run with the Corvette camp in the Tudor race tomorrow, the big 12-hour event. And he said it's really difficult to jump between the 2 machines. Yes, they're both sedans, they're both sort of GT style of race cars. They have very different dynamics. And he said, you know, I drove the Corvette at Daytona at the 24-hour race, got here this weekend and immediately felt on the pace. But the more time he did in the car, he said it seemed to have more effect on him rather than getting used to it. He said this car seems to like dominate his feel in the car, and he struggles to really relate it when he gets back into the faster pace of a Tudor ALMS, you know, GT machine.
Certainly everything comes at you. Oh, we have a car. Is that a car up down there? No, that's just a pace or a safety car. The faster car, your decision-making time is cut in half. And there's our leader, Randy Pokes, coming in.
Loosening up the belts.
This is about normal for the ST cars. They'll normally go about an hour 20 or so. Every mark's a little bit different. Every manufacturer gets different fuel mileage. But so far, so good for Randy Pokes. A lot of speed. Mazda's looking tough here this weekend as Andrew Carbonell takes over behind the wheel. Here in the 93 car that had such a good run here, starting from the pole, Chad Gilsinger may have some drive shaft issues, so that's a shame for the Hart boys.
That's the bumpy old Sebring racetrack taking its toll, is what that is.
The nice thing with this ST fuel window, it gets you pretty close to the halfway mark, so not quite close enough yet.
One good caution, though, and you would be.
Yeah, they're going to need a bit of help if they maintain the same fuel mileage here.
Perhaps. Oh.
Yeah, there you go, Calvin, the 93. That was the top Honda, really broken front axle or drive shaft.
The other thing you have to factor in with that strategy, Dorsey, maybe they're pitting at the soonest point where they can get to the finish. So maybe the car can actually go further. They're not out of fuel. And an hour 22 that you see on the board is how far the car can go. That's pretty much how you do this race. You back time it. You want to be the first to make that final pit stop so you don't get caught out with a caution. When there's a caution out, pit lane is closed, and you can lose all of the advantage that you had at the front of the field.
New ST class leader, Will Nonamaker. Porsche Cayman.
It's a great story. These are the boys who jumped up to the big leagues last year with Daytona prototypes with great success. Had a couple of pole positions with Wayne Nonamaker and Dane Cameron behind the wheel, and said, you know, with the changes, with the merger, it's probably going to be a bit too rich for their blood in terms of the resources that were necessary to compete at the front of the pack. And they've come back to a class that they're very familiar with and doing a great job with this new Cayman.
Just witnessed a lead change there. The number 33 of Derek Jones, the black Nissan, moves to the front around Nonamaker.
Nonamakers have run everything. They've ran Mazdas, they ran Corvettes for quite a while. So, I mean, they're not new to this class by any means. Now the Porsche, a lot of debris on the racetrack back there.
Let's get down to the pit lane now, and Brian Till.
Calvin, you were just talking about fuel strategy being the first to make that final stop. Well, in the ST category, Ken Murillo and his boys, they've already brought the 56 in. Jeff Mosing is out, Eric Foss is in. I just talked to him and I said, Ken, you can't make it from here, can you? And he went, no, not without a yellow. We're betting on the yellow. So they've already laid their cars down. And he said, the way the yellow works here, the way I have it figured, we're either going to be one lap short or one lap to the good. So they're going to take it right down to the wire with the strategy that they're playing there at Murillo Racing.
Well, I think we'd have to look at the record books. I'm not sure one of these Continental Challenge races has ever gone without a caution. So we'll have to wait and see how this one develops.
You know, surprisingly, you look at the momentum of the race itself, though, and it's so clean and green the whole way. Nobody's really pressuring anybody.
Like Lawson said, essentially it just gets spread out, and then it's easier to have that rhythm of the race. Restarts, cautions breed cautions, as you say, Dorsey.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, once again, first time here at Sebring International Raceway for the Continental Tire Series. A lot of this guesswork in the pit lane is strictly that, guesswork. We'll be back. Got pit stands under that car. Just seeing it up on the jack with a guy laying underneath.
No way of finding that.
Scary.
Yeah. Google it. Oh yeah? Nice. Liddell has the fastest race lap. Oh no, Shelby's a bit quicker now. 17.31.
Righty ho. Jean de Bien Ben.
Robbins decided to leave him alone.
.1, 13.1 to the 01 car.
Gap between Lally and Oschenbach, 13%.
Camaros look pretty solid, don't they? Just the way they squat coming off the corner.
Yeah, they do.
Seem to be much body roll.
Got him pinned down pretty well. Remember we did the Kia? Listen to that shift.
Are we on the 26 here? Okay. Now that's the way to go race watching at Sebring International. Rent a scissors lift. Put up your easy up. I don't see the ice chest, but I'm sure there's one in the immediate vicinity.
It might be gator hunting. You never know.
Come down at night, fire up the barbecue. A great place to watch races, and it's remarkable how close the fans can get to the racing surface. There's a good example right there. As we continue with 1 hour, 15 minutes remaining, exactly the halfway mark here at round 2 of the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. There are the Stevenson Camaros running nose to tail. Andy Lowy and Robin Liddell.
He tried to get in there.
He stuck his nose in there, and I tell you what, that's a dangerous game. Andy certainly doesn't want to give up that track position right now, which I'm not really understand why he'd fight it too badly. I mean, I think Mike Johnson just needs to get on the radio and communicate between the two cars and set out a strategy for the boys to employ.
There's your SRT halfway leader. In fact, John Edwards and his teammate Trent Hindman have led from the green flag here at Sebring.
That's what I was talking about in the opening of the show is look how close the spectators are to the racetrack. They're on the same level, they're the same plane. So when they start driving their cars around to try to outdo one another and show off, well, those cars intersect with your line of view in the race car. It's sometimes hard not to get confused as what's going on out there.
Especially at night during the 12 hours where everybody has headlights on.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, big time distraction. This car has really held its balance really well. There's now about half a dozen cars running this 2:17 mark. But John Edwards seems to be running a nice pace. He's extended the lead out to 11.5 seconds over Lawson Aschenbach. But I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's thinking, save the car a little bit in case this turns into a shootout at the end of this race. You don't want to burn it down. Yeah, he's going to get some fresh tires. He's going to get a full fuel load before the end of this race. But you can still burn the car down a little bit in terms of its performance by trying to extend that lead, which would be negated, obviously, with the safety car.
On board, perhaps the most popular production-based sports racing car of all time. I believe over 900,000 Mazda MX-5s have been sold. And as the marketing slogan goes, more of them are raced on every weekend than probably any other brand.
You hear that engine just screaming along there at 8,000 revs as Andrew manipulates his way around this racetrack. That downshift might have been 8,100 right there, actually.
Mazda's announced a new program with the simulator company iRacing to generate a scholarship for a young driver who works his way through the MX-5 Cup Series to a yearly shootout for a paid season of racing in an MX-5 in the year to follow. Look for the details at iRacing.com and Mazda as well.
Certainly Nissan have proven that that's a great way to find emerging young talent. They've brought some gamers through the Le Mans ranks in the last couple of 3 years, and with amazing success. Lucas Ordonez and Jan Mardenborough will be competing here this weekend for Muscle Milk Racing in the Tudor race here, the 12-hour.
Back to the Stevenson intra-squad battle for third place. Lally still leads Liddell. Darren Law, what do you think?
Well, I was just talking with Mike Johnson and asking him, is there team orders? What are you guys doing with this? Because it looks like Liddell's got some spots where he can get by. He said, just like we were talking about before, they're dealing with just new car issues. One car's running a little warm, one has some electrical issues. So he said neither driver has called or complained or asked to get by. So they're letting them sort it on track, and if it needs be, they'll switch positions. But you know, in the spots where you see Robin making up time, other areas you'll see Lally pull out a bit. So it kind of evens out between the two.
The overheating would concern me, you know, on a cool day like this. And they are still running relatively close, so you got to wonder if it's Robin's car that's overheating. You would assume it would be, but maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe it's the lead car is overheating, and that's why it's the lead car, and Robin's not passing.
If Andy in the 9 has considered letting Robin go by for a while, and just to see what he's got, see how it affects his own car.
He's looking at him here a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, Robin's certainly making his intentions known. I mean, and sometimes with these team cars, I'm not sure if Stevenson do it, you can actually chat to one another, Dorsey.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they're able to get on the same channel and just talk it through. But typically, you're going to relay that through your crew chief, someone like Mike Johnson, who's sitting on the pit box. So Robin's obviously not too concerned. I mean, if he's losing any time, it must be marginal. Otherwise, he'd say, hey, I could be catching up Oschenbach if you'd let me go.
Robin might also be thinking about fuel mileage, sitting back there getting a little bit more, you know, help. Maybe get another lap of fuel mileage out of the Camaro.
Let's hear from another Camaro driver, Chris Neville.
Yeah, and Eric Kern doesn't look too concerned while his teammate's about 12 seconds behind the leader. And Eric, one thing that I've heard up and down pit lane is everybody's talking about how abrasive this track is, and you're going to take care of the car right now. But if this thing turns into a couple lap shootout at the end, do you guys have anything for that BMW?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, this Team Chevy Camaro Z28, it's awesome here, but you know, we weigh 3,400 pounds. We got that big 7-liter V8 with all that torque, and those Continentals are hanging on, but they're a bit too narrow for this car. But, you know, we'll see. We got a good, consistent race car, second race ever for this Camaro Z28, and that BMW is strong, and it's got a lot of years behind it for reliability and just getting the car sorted. But Sebring's a tough racetrack. It beats up a car big time. It's abrasive. It chews up the tires, but we're hanging on pretty well right now. Running second place. I had a great stint. But I don't know if we got the BMWs quite there at the end, but we're happy with this Team Chevy Camaro.
You spent some time right behind that 46 car. Where's he beating you?
I mean, the big thing is the car's consistent. I mean, we got good torque off the corners, but that car is just consistent, especially with the lighter weight of the BMW. It gets through the slower corners a lot better than our car does. So 3,400 pounds, a big 7-liter V8, and a narrow Continental tire. It's a little tricky, but it's shown to be pretty strong. Second race ever for this Camaro Z28. We're looking pretty good right now. Thanks, Eric.
I like that 7-liter Camaro sound. You know, that the heck with all this fuel mileage business. Now, these guys are going for the big blocks.
Just bellow. Go ahead. Put your foot in it.
And we talked about the BMW getting its wings clipped since Daytona, where they were so dominant. They do have 50 pounds more weight and a smaller air restrictor, which means they got less power to work with here today. But they have closed the gap a little bit. But right now, the BMWs are right in the mix. But when you look at the fastest laps, it's Chevys and the BMWs all running within a couple of tenths of one another. So I think they've got it pretty right at the moment.
Everything in racing is a compromise. You heard Eric Kern talking about how the Continental tires might be a little narrow for this car. Well, that'll help you on the straightaway, no matter how much it might hurt you in the corners. There's your race leader, John Edwards, and BMW. We'll be back to Sebring and Florida. Nice picture of other tire products there, making up the tire walls.
take a lap with the 158.
Presumably with a healthy clutch.
I think Eric was lobbying for wider tires on it.
Oh, I don't know. We used to call this driver young Englishman Ian James. Now it's middle-aged Englishman Ian James.
He used to have a few pounds
cold.
lighter before, too.
Oh, that's cold. That's harsh.
What did you say, mister?
He used to be a few pounds lighter than he is.
Just dancing on the throttle there through one. Eesh.
I think it's cool that the
all
Miller family have allowed the car to continue.
Yeah, that is a good story.
It's great.
Yeah. These Mustangs sound good too.
They do. Those are 427s, I think.
Okay. Start of the race.
That's the start.
Hinman and Kerner off the front row.
Patrick Cigar.
First red.
Tippy-tappy.
Starts
Flat tires next. No, it's not.
This is
pass for the lead.
The MX-5 26 going to the lead. Okay.
Yeah, folks.
There's the flat tire.
All right.
Madame LaRue.
LaRue Brothers.
There's Boris Craig.
Is it 96 circulating?
Yeah. We ever find out what that was about?
What's that?
Oh, that was that clutch deal.
Yeah.
We were working on the master cylinder.
That's a 93. So.
God, slow shifts. Must be that same car.
'96 is shown as retired. Why Bill got in.
Seems to be a degree of desire for Robin to get by that exceeds the calmness.
Yeah, I wonder. Little urgency in his driving. If not
now
in
they're
his voice.
splitting the car down the center.
There we go.
That'll work.
See, this is
Really?
About
Robin? He's cursing at Robin?
Huh.
there a noise that Lally may be making his opinion known on the radio about having his teammate hassle him.
That's a nice plot way of what you were thinking.
Mindful of the moment. Still, I wonder, you know, if you're still developing the car, why not let him by for a while? You can obviously run with it.
Long way to go, too.
Yeah, and a long way to go. Assuming he can still run with him. But I got to believe he can.
Yeah, I think they can. I don't know what Randy's all perturbed about, though.
Well,
just that much pressure, I guess.
He's afraid something might happen and ruin everybody's day. Be different maybe if they were running deep in the class, but third and fourth.
Yeah. Robin doesn't make many mistakes, though. He's usually pretty solid.
His car just looks a bit more hooked up to me.
Oh, no. More of that. More of that.
Must have been the opening stint he just did.
That cost that cost somebody a ride yesterday. I forgot who it was. It was rattling my chain about that being reclassified.
New IMSA driver ratings in, and our booth man Rick Rat has been
denied,
rated a rust.
Denied the license.
Kenny Wilden, Dorsey.
There you go. That's who it was.
Conrad's how old is
Thank
Franz
you,
Conrad?
Ryan.
What? Ruggiero Melgarati.
Oh, wow.
Man, talk about a blast from the past.
Bringing guys out of the woodwork here.
I should say. Now, Melgarati's got to be a silver by virtue of age, I would think.
Unless he's been doing some stuff in Europe, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah.
what's this? This is 48.
Ooh, left rears. Shelby Blackstock in the 5th place car when it happened.
Joey Atterbury just tweeted us.
Yeah.
Wishing he was back at the track watching us.
Thank
That's
you, Joey.
more than a tire. That's a bent suspension or broken suspension.
Yeah, something broke.
Championship leader in trouble.
It doesn't look like he hit anything either. It looks like it's a failure.
Car looks good. Boy, this is a dangerous place to be messing with crab walking.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's steer from the rear this time.
Well, I don't see any damage to the
No,
car.
I don't
wonder if
either.
it just broke.
I think it did.
Toe
think
link?
something just broke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
something
just
left rear, Brian, if you don't see it.
He doesn't have a mark on the car. So.
Stress on the track.
It's the old Sebring bumpy.
Yeah.
You're at 4 line, right, Brian?
That's correct.
He's towed out about a mile, Brian. Left rear.
Yeah, it's ugly coming to me.
Read the writing on the back of the car.
Not a mark on the body anywhere.
Yeah, I would think that just broke.
Just broke.
Starstruck, I bet. He's probably feeling that way right now.
Yeah, that's probably what did it too. Sebring wins again. That gets to be a big hole out there too, Roger. On the left rear, when they dig that sand out, you get to like a foot deep. Oh yeah, she broke. Upright broke. I heard him yell it.
You know the.
And there's the link.
Oh. What's
Who is this
critical
now?
is that they get him back out because he hasn't done 45 minutes yet. Right?
Yeah.
On the drive time thing.
09.
That's the sort of stuff where
Yeah, you were talking about the
it'll
meeting.
never happen.
Yeah, it just did. James Davidson.
Why fix it if there's a problem?
You're going to get us in trouble, man. Liddell's ahead now.
Yep.
Back at Sebring International Raceway, coming up on 1 hour remaining in this 2.5 hour round 2 of the IMSA Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge from legendary Sebring. Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Darren Law, Brian Till, and Chris Neville. I'm Bob Varsha, and if you've been following the race, you notice the Stevenson number 6 Camaro Z28R is ahead of the 9 after following it lap after lap for the last half hour or so.
You may think us happy families working here, but we're hearing that Andy Lally was getting pretty irate on his radio back to the crew about Robin basically hassling him going down into some of these corners. But Robin has made his way by, and we'll see how things shake out now. Robin's car just seems to be a little bit better coming off the corners, Dorsey. The rear end seems to be sitting. I mean, it is possible they're running slightly different setups, and Robin's may be working a little bit better than Andy's right now.
Well, you can tell Randy is not too happy because he's doing the same thing back to Robin. Robin did to him. He's really sticking his nose in everywhere he can and trying to be a nuisance as much as possible without making contact.
Meanwhile, over in the pit lane, the number 48, Shelby Blackstock, who was 5th when he had rear end problems, is now up on the jacks in the pit lane. What have we got, Brian?
Well, we've got damaged left rear suspension. It looks like the upright is broken. The toe link has pulled right out of the upright. So it's not the toe link itself, it's the upright. That's going to be a long fix. And I say fix because they need to get it fixed and get Shelby back on track. He needs to get his 45 minutes of drive time in order to score points. Remember, Blackstock and Ashley Freiberg are the championship leaders in the Grand Sport category after just one round after claiming the victory at Daytona. So this would be a major blow to their championship, and it would separate them if Shelby didn't get his time in the car. So they will go to work here. They've pushed it forward a little bit. They're fortunate they're at an end of pit lane where they've got a little space in front, so they're not blocking their other pit spaces, and they're going to try to change this left rear upright and get Shelby Blackstock back out so that he can get his points. They'll be way down in the order, but something is better than nothing when you've got a championship that you're chasing.
I think we found the problem, boys.
Yeah, you could see it right in the middle of 16. Watch this as he's got the car fully loaded. Second car in the shot right there, watch. Suddenly lets go, and this is creating the moment. The wheel is already askew there, as you can see, as he does drop a wheel. So it wasn't dropping the wheel that caused the problem, just the loading through that corner. And that's just what Sebring will do to these race cars. Remember, it's the first time these cars have raced here before. They've tested, but they haven't gone like an hour and 30 minutes at the mark we're at right now and punished these cars to this extent.
That was a great save right there. He was fully loaded and in the middle of the highest stress part of that corner when that broke. That's what put him off the road. It didn't break as a result of going off of the road. But that just shows you, like you said, the stress of this racetrack. It beats up everything.
Meanwhile, over in the ST class, we told you the story of the C.J. Wilson Mazda MX-5s. The number 3 car with Mark Miller now driving had gone all the way to the front. Now it's currently in 9th place and about to serve a penalty for excessive pit lane speed.
That was one of the cars racing up in front there, one of the Camaros. I didn't see which one. One of these guys just took the bumper off the back end. And I'm thinking it's maybe Randy Popes took it off of. No? Yep.
Yeah.
It did.
Well,
no, that's just the way it is.
That's not it.
That's not it.
I think it was a piece of white.
No, it's that car. It's the third car in the view. The BMW's got no
I think
room.
it's the BMW that may have got tweaked.
Yeah, it got tweaked a little.
Great point by Brian, though, on the drive time. There's new rules in place for this year. Instead of last year where you had to do a minimum of 30 minutes, this year it's 45. And it has to be 45 minutes on the racetrack. So there were a couple of drivers who ran afoul of that at Daytona. So for our championship leader coming in, Shelby Blackstock, he does not have 45 minutes on the board right now. So they need to get that car fixed to the extent that he can drive around the racetrack, probably for another 5 minutes, I would think, to be safe and stay on the same point total as Ashley Freibag.
Full course caution, guys, because of that debris, I'm sure.
There it is right here. Robin Liddell, who just tips the back end of that BMW. I don't think he's going to get a penalty for that. That's just as close as the racing gets here with 2 different classes of racing.
We have our full course caution, our second, just the second of the race. Now over 95 minutes in.
Pit lane will be closed right now. That's why we're not seeing the leaders pit. But I think they will, because they're pretty close to needing fuel and just under an hour to go. So they're going to have to stretch it a little bit. But this might be right in the sweet spot for the GS cars to come in on this next lap and then be able to stretch it to the checkered flag without a splash of fuel needed.
There are the Stevenson teammates. We mentioned earlier that Andy Lally was getting a little perturbed. Let's listen to his radio transmission. Judge for yourself.
What the is he doing? Of all the you're gonna try that, the very last turn is coming out of the front straightaway in my blind spot.
So, I think he's mad.
You think?
I love it when teammates get along.
Well, you know, that's our first caution at 40 laps. That's unbelievable.
Marching forward in lockstep. Looks like they might do a little track cleanup while they pick up that debris over there in the hairpin. We'll take a break and return to Sebring in a moment.
Beautiful. Love it.
Maybe I'll give him a shot now and behind the pace car. Give him a little rough him up. Yeah, there's a car over there.
Yeah,
there's 2
a bunch of cars
there.
they could pick up. That was right, wasn't it? Second yellow?
No, first.
First, didn't
Yeah.
it? Oh, dear whiz.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to correct that.
I did. I already did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
thank
snuck
you.
it in. No problem.
Been waiting for one for so long. I
You're
figured we
close.
had it.
Close.
Yeah, you won't have one.
Let's increase the number by 100%.
Yeah, of course it's 50%. I didn't think Randy got riled up like that. I guess he does.
It's Andy, by the way. You keep calling him Randy.
Andy. Randy. Randolph.
It's Robin.
Andy.
R is with Robin.
Okay, sorry.
A is for Andy.
Well, that's
Bruce Wayne.
They're so close.
Joey Hand is not in this race.
You sure?
Dorsey?
Yes.
He's famous for it.
Yes.
His radio communication is.
Oh, is he really?
Classic.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know. I never listened to it before. Now I have. So he gets riled up, does he?
Well, sometimes there's an ulterior motive. There are some famous Formula One drivers who cuss like sailors on the radio because they know they won't use it. Nelson Piquet used to be famous for that. You know, if you
They
wanted
probably
to
use
interview
curse
him.
words as another meaning, you know.
Or do it in one of 18 different languages.
Look at who's in second place, boys. Oh.
Well, there was another full course caution, but those were the pace laps before we started.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew I could weasel out of it somehow. We got to come up with a name for that Corvette inflatable garage. What are we going to call that?
I think Alvardi boy might have pulled the fast one here.
That's what I'm looking at.
He did his second pit stop. Last pit stop lap 37. I think Vardy may leapfrog to the front here. They'll pit.
Yeah, I got to.
That's something.
That's cool.
Depending on how.
Yes.
I'd love to see somebody up on top of that.
It's the Corvette racing, what do they call them, jump ups or something?
Hey guys, I think the Rumbum team has pulled a nice bit of strategy. They pitted 3 laps ago. I think
Hey guys, I can add to that if you want.
Okay.
To the Rumbum deal?
They pitted, right? And they're full of fuel and obviously gambling on the yellow.
10-4, it was a strategy call.
Yeah.
That's Joe.
He's a smart little bugger. Emphasis on the little.
Very.
And keep your eyes on the 56 as well, because remember they did that stop a long time ago, and they're going to try to go the distance in ST. They're third right now.
This could be a while. They got
a lot of cars to go.
And if it's a long yellow, that's what the 5-6 needs. It needs to go on for several laps.
That little scene right there in the background will change in about 4 hours. Trust me.
And then won't change again for 24.
No, yeah, right, exactly. It'll be the same way once it gets started.
Yeah, if you want to add to that. I talked to Vardy. I asked why they came in so early. They came in like 5-10 minutes ago, and he said, I got no other chance. I'm coming in and gambling, and we can make it. It's a fuel deal.
It's good.
The guy thinks it through.
And right at 10 minutes to get the broken upright off, and it's just about to get there, and the new one will go on.
Quicker, one hopes.
We don't have spares of those. Change the run. We have a different one.
I thought I detected some colorful language when the guy assessed the situation and yelled over to the pit wall something about a.
I need the stock bolt then too, don't I? I don't know what's on the upright, bud. Where's the toe one? Oh, it's fucking gone.
Now I'm certain that I heard some colorful language before.
Definitely. I don't think they got the right part. That's
Pick up this hardware.
That's the
Start
broken
with the
parts.
hardware
Yeah, I know. You never hear bad language on the internet.
Why is she calling me? She knows that I can't answer.
That's why she's calling.
Yeah, exactly. I was
No,
gonna
it's
say. Well
the
done, Brian.
registrar person.
Hey, you know the old saying, there's only one race at the track this weekend, my race. I don't care how many other races there are.
Clear. Stop that. No.
Come on, help me.
Get that bolt out. There you go. Get that one. There you go.
That newness has worn off that piece.
If somebody's counting how many guys are over the wall.
But that never happened.
Okay, put the lower one in. Put the CV in first.
So did the upright break or was
Yeah,
the
the bottom of the upright, right where the toe link hooks onto it, broke off, right at the bolt hole.
That must have taken quite a shot.
Yeah, who knows how old it might have been too.
Nice looking fire suit, Brian.
Here comes a tow truck full of race car coming to pit lane slow. Barty did pull a sneaky one there. That's what I said, Kevin, when I looked up. I said, look who's in second all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that they don't have the pace.
Well, let's
So,
try to see. He's
maybe they can
actually,
hang on.
he's not on the lead lap, is he? Is Edwards in
I
front
know,
of him?
I'm wondering, because they're still showing Aschenbach.
Yeah.
They don't show him on timing scoring being second.
Yeah.
Back at Sebring, round 2 of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge here on Fox Sports. The pits are now open under our first full course caution of the race. Let's go down to Chris Neville.
Yeah, it's going to be a pit lane shootout here for our leaders. Going to do 4 Continental tires, full load of fuel for Eric Kern. I talked to Austin Aschenbach. I spoke to Eric Kern right before the car came in. I said, are you going to do anything to try and help this car get off the corner and try and catch up with that 46? He said they're going to drop the track bar and around a wedge. Brian?
Well, down at fall line, John Edwards is in his BMW. Trent Hinman, so impressive in the early stages. Tires and fuel down here. 4 Continental tires will go on this BMW, and they're working on it right now, trying to get John Edwards back on track as quickly as they can.
Well, this is the real
And I'm
pressure
down here
situation.
at the Stevenson pit. It's actually a race on pit lane between the two, and it looks like that Liddell's car is going to be down and away quickly. Lally car was taking quite a while for putting on the tires and the fuel, so he's going to lose a couple extra spots here just in pit lane alone.
That'd be good for the team.
I'll tell you one thing that I thought had happened here is that the Rumbum team pitted about 3 laps ago, and why they would do that is to basically have that fuel stop done, but the key to that is staying on the lead lap, and I believe that they didn't quite do that. He was second in line, and basically Edward was keeping him a lap down, so I think that strategy didn't quite work out for Giovanni. We'll have to see how things shake out here.
To Chris Neville.
Well, we saw the GS leaders in, but it sounds like our ST leaders are good to go for the end of the race. And Randy, you guys have been up front all of this race, but that CJ Wilson Mazda has really snuck up on you guys. What do you have for the finish?
Sebring seems to work for the Mazda Miatas, and the Freedom Autosport cars in the lead. I'm just right there with Andrew Carbonell at the seat. The car is balanced, and that's working in these hot Florida weathers. The Continental tires are amazing that they can hold up in this kind of condition, but it's the right car for the track, and we're happy to be part of the Semper Fi Fund supporting military friends. First piece of camo I've ever owned right here.
Yeah, you talk about the right car for the track. In ST, we got front-wheel drive cars, we got rear-wheel drive cars, so you're saying the rear-wheel drive better at Sebring?
Well, it is so far, because it seems to be about the handling, and I think it's this hot Florida sun.
Let's see if we can see the Freedom guys hang on and get their first victory of the year.
He's right about that. As it gets hot down here, this racetrack gets real greasy. That does definitely favor the rear-wheel drive car. You can manage it a little bit easier than you can front-wheel drive. With that front-wheel slip in, you're losing your ability to turn, too. So I think he played it right there. The sun has a great deal to do with it.
And I'm with Randy. I love those camo fire suits.
He lives outside Atlanta. I can't imagine him not having camo just to get around.
Absolutely. Up in the Gainesville, Georgia area, I believe, not far from where Calvin and I both live. I was about to mention this team will give a big lift to a wounded warrior, as decorated Marine Sergeant Liam Dwyer will race later on this year in Monterey, California. There's Dwyer being fitted for the car. They'll be using prosthetic devices. It's going to be a really interesting process to watch one of America's finest take up this new activity. Congratulations to the Freedom Autosport gang for all the hard work they put into modifying that car for Sergeant Dwyer. And good luck to him on his maiden voyage at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Where better? Still out of the caution. Let's get back down to the pit lane to Chris Neville.
Well, Bob, and you can see Liam Dwyer there in our camera view, and spoke to him just before the race about Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and he said he is so pumped up about that racetrack. He said all he's been doing is go-karting lately. He's just trying to get his timing, trying to get up to the speed in the go-kart, because he knows these Mazdas handle a lot like a go-kart. But biggest smile on his face. He just can't wait until we get to Monterey.
I think he's learning a lot right there, speaking with Randy Popes. Big smiles all around. Why not? We'll take another break and be back for the green flag as we resume activities here at the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge at Sebring.
In the heck.
Rat hasn't given me squat.
He's in one of those moods.
I'm still waiting for my cappuccino.
Tell you what, the racetrack goes to all the expense to put that kind of technology up here, and can't get good help to use it.
I'd like a skinny latte, Rick, please.
I need a
skinny latte. Do you know what a latte is? No. Latte.
Okay, we're going to come back from break, and I'm going to need a promo, and if I don't read it.
He thinks he's talking about
heck.
Latino.
I could just read the font. That takes all the excitement out of it.
Look at that.
Next race.
The big swamp buggies are out there.
CTSC's not going out to Long Beach? Okay.
No time out there.
Guess if I wasn't going to be there, they won't.
Actually, there's not enough grids.
Yeah.
Paddock space.
I don't know where they're going to put all the cars.
I don't either, man. I mean, when Trans Am ran out there, we were way out on the pier someplace.
Yeah.
On the far end.
In a big parking lot, huh?
Yeah. It was trying to get to the grid was just a disaster.
How many pit boxes do they have?
It goes a long way because of that bend
down Shoreline Drive.
Yeah, Shoreline Drive. But that's.
See, there's the rum bum getting the lap down wave by, so they're
Yeah,
back on
so
the
they
lead
were-
lap.
they
and
were
they,
lap down.
they were within a whisker of leading this race right now.
Yep.
Yeah, but they
I mean,
just
if
got
he had
back
come out in front of
he'd have had it.
Edwards, he would have had it.
So now he's got to make it. Well, they won't quit. Just shy of seeing the Tullius hangar right to the right of him.
Yeah.
Now, you were there last year.
Yeah, I've been in there.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Surprised we haven't seen him around. He usually flies that P-51 around on these weekends.
He doesn't have the P-51 anymore.
Oh, he sell it?
Yeah, he donated it to the Royal Air Force Museum in England.
Oh,
Where say it is, Cal? Duxbury or somewhere?
Duxford, I think.
Duxford.
Well, there's a, I don't know
right.
if that's where it's at, but there's a famous
Something
museum.
involving ducks.
Yes.
They get shot down a lot.
He's still got about 4 airplanes. He's got the King Air, or Queen Air, whichever it is, in Group 44 colors, of course.
Of course.
He's got I think it was kind of a Stearman. He's got a biplane.
Really?
He's got a couple of interesting things.
The King Air or Queen Air, both really good transportation.
Yeah, definitely. Beautiful cars,
Turbo
too.
prop. Yeah, I know he's got some nice cars over there.
I mean, an airplane hangar really can be the ultimate man cave.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, for sure. Mine would have beat up old Jeeps and 4-wheel drive trucks. And junk. That's why I got to have so many houses. I don't have a big enough garage.
Too much stuff.
Yeah, got to spread stuff out. Can't find anything.
Where in that picture you tweeted of your bus, where was it parked?
That was at the house at in Keys.
That pad is next to your house?
Yeah, I poured that pad for the bus.
Uh-huh.
And the boat sits right behind it on the davits.
Yeah.
That was taken from the front door looking out. It's the only thing that isn't in the water is that right there. That's the only spot
I was going to say.
that you can walk and not get wet.
How big is the dry land portion of your property?
Oh, I think it's 380 feet on one end and like 250 on the other.
Is there a...
And it's the last one at the end of a road, so the canal is the next thing.
You run right down to the water, or is there a right-of-way there?
No, it's right on the water. Just walk right in the water out of the house.
Way cool.
which leaves you very vulnerable if any of these little hurricanes develop. It's 110 miles to any land. As we like to say, we're closer to Havana, Cuba than Walmart, which is true.
Chateau Elan.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's
It is still called that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's 110 miles to Walmart, and it's only 90 miles to Havana.
I said that to Westbrook the other day after we both hit our drives and got out to the balls. I said, "Do you know they're building a Walmart here in Sebring?" He said, "No." I said, "Yeah, between my drive and yours."
Oh. Oh, dear.
Jeez.
Uh-oh. Those motorhomes are in the, I think they could be hit.
Oh, maybe what we heard was
talking about somebody
someone
else.
Oh, it could be.
He wasn't talking about Ramen.
Maybe this is the great cover-up coming.
It could be. You know Mike. Mike will get it politically right. Uh-oh. What's this about? It doesn't look right
50,
either.
She's stopped.
Does it look like the left front's funny, or it's sitting funny, or just camera angle? Probably just camera angle.
Where the heck is he? Is that the hairpin? No.
That's like turn 8, I think.
It's out of the
It's
hairpin.
8,
it's the
chicane.
beginning of the S's.
It's the Fangio chicane. Not the preferred pace either. So that'll extend the yellow, or if they decide to go get him. These Caymans are kind of nice looking in racing trim.
They look better in racing trim than they do.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Because I agree. I think
it breaks it up some. You know,
the new ones are really, those wheels
Are
are
they
really
nice?
sharp. Yeah. Brian used to have one of the old ones,
Yeah,
which
Brian
was
had-
appropriate.
his grocery getter.
They modeled the rear end on his back. So.
He had to get one. Oh, dear. He was forced into it.
You know the story about the buried race cars here at Sebring? Do you know where they are? Are they out there under that sod farm or back in the woods somewhere? Or?
I thought they were not too far from where that truck is. Like you know that the road used to go straight there, and actually it's back over there, and back off that side there before they put that industrial thing back in the back corner. I think they're out there.
In case you folks out there watching the live stream are wondering, the old rumor, the wives' tale about race cars being buried here at Sebring are true.
There used to be 3 garages back there, way back there, where that industrial park is now. Me and Bruce McGinnis used to go pilfering around out there.
Doing what?
Pilfering about.
Pilfering.
Looking for
Pilfering is not walking.
We were trying to, look into what was in there.
Yeah.
We were met with some opposition. Let's put it that way.
Seeing how heavy things are. Heavy enough to
This
carry.
used to be a fantastic
Hey, Dorsey?
place. Yeah.
You know, on your phone, you can get a Thesaurus app.
A what?
Thesaurus app.
Thesaurus app.
What in the
Sounds
heck
like
is
Chris
that?
got a lisp.
I think he did. You be nice or something?
Yeah, but you got
the
to
Till
vamp.
household.
My thumbs aren't fast enough to find the word before I need to use it.
We're supposed to be able to spell it. This guy hasn't been
now
towed
we're going to
much.
watch.
He's not been
get
towed
pulled
much.
off
He's going
this
to run
car.
over that. He's going to run over that strap.
What do you want to do here? Drag the brake a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep that tension on.
Well, unless you like that.
Yeah, the whiplash.
Violent whiplash.
This guy just has not been towed around much.
Well,
didn't grow up where I did.
it's a nice looking car. It's not sharing its best moment right now, but I like that.
Just look like everybody in my neighborhood's drafting, but
he's
they're
going to
actually
run
towing.
over the slack, and then he's really.
That's what
gonna
I'm
have a
talking about.
problem.
Yeah, if he puts that underneath the front tire like right now, snap! Come on, do it.
That's
It'll
right.
yank.
He's got to run on the tow truck.
It'll yank that cleat right out of there. Everybody thinks we're drafting my neighborhood. We're actually towing. Nobody's car will run long enough. Got to pick your buddy up all the time.
Hobbs tells a very funny story about one of his earliest days in racing when he took whatever he was driving, a Lotus Elite or something, out to some racetrack, and the car broke, and so he had to tow it home. But he had, for some reason, he didn't have a tow vehicle. I can't remember what happened. So long story short is a friend drives up there with him with a piece of rope, and they hook it up to the car, and they start towing it home, and the rope keeps snapping. So the car being towed gets closer and closer to the car towing it.
Yeah. I once had, when I raced karts, I had this little Volkswagen van, and the engine did blow up in the van, not the kart. So we're coming back, and my dad's friend was towing us, and we did not have a long piece of tow, as long as this room.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 feet.
We
made it home in about 20 minutes, more time than we normally would, running absolutely flat out. We were hauling.
I bet you were focused, too.
Oh, my God. It was a great run.
My sister blew the clutch out of a car, and my dad picked me up, and we went to get it. And went down there, and it destroyed it. It didn't have any clutch whatsoever. So he got behind me to push me home. I was only about 15 years old. I didn't have a driver's license, So he's pushing me back, and he's intentionally getting off center at the back to try to spin me around. I'm like driving, I'm sweating like a dog trying to get home. He's messed with me all the way back.
Good old New England style short track chain racing.
It took forever. How many laps?
There haven't been a lot of changes to Sebring International Raceway over the years, but there's one of the biggest and most beautiful. The Chateau Elan Inn and Conference Center looks out on several key corners here at legendary Sebring. Get a chance? Stop there. Although I'll tell you right now, finding a room can be very, very difficult. Here's our Continental Tire race recap. Trent Hinman in the red, white, and blue BMW leading Eric Curran in his Camaro Z28 early on. And then the fun begins.
Yeah, Patrick Seguin was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Got touched once and touched again and turned it in the wall. And this was a pass to the ST lead, Dorsey, which is a great battle in the first hour of this race.
Laura said getting a problem here with the BMW. Turner car hits hard, takes out the left front suspension.
Serious damage to that car. It is now officially retired. Problems also for the 158. They needed clutch change. Now we are ready to go racing once again. Coming up on 30 minutes remaining.
Whoa,
it's go time.
Pass for the leader.
New leader and spinner.
Wow, Andy Lally went for a spin there. I think it's Ron Liddell that went around the outside. There was traffic involved there. That allowed him to get a run on Jaron Edwards, who's his teammate, ironically, at Stevenson last year.
And that's why we say cautions, precautions. They're still bumping each other. The run bump Porsche trying to muscle its way up the inside here.
And they were within a whisker of that strategy that Giovanni ran there of being the leaders of this race, but they just got trapped behind John Edwards, so they stayed a lap down, but they're now back in the mix. They're back on the lead lap. Here's the carnage down in turn one. That's the 0-1 car. Lawson Aschenbach involved in the mix here. A contender for the win.
Boy, oh boy, one full course caution in the first 2 hours of this race. I think we may get at least one more in the last 30 minutes.
That could have been so much worse than what it actually was.
The problem was you had slower traffic right amongst the leaders, with the cars pitting and stuff. You don't always clear the way to pick up the overall leader, and someone else was bringing them back to green.
Now the war is on.
Absolutely, it is go time.
You want to be aggressive on these restarts. I mean, you can make up your most positions right away at the restart when guys are kind of asleep at the wheel or they're not going to be as aggressive as you. So you really tend to run hard for like the first 2 or 3 laps, get what you can get, then settle back into it.
Maybe mistaken here, guys. We actually have Shane Lewis in the lead right now in the 12 car, so that may have been the car that I didn't identify when we went back to green. So they pitted about 10 laps before the rest of the field and have stayed out there and have assumed the lead.
Local guy.
There goes the 6th, thundering down Ullman straightaway. The back straight here at Sebring. Let's go to Chris Neville quickly.
Rob just checked in with CKS, and they said Lawson Aschenbach saying that Andy Lally got into him pretty hard down there in turn 1. Broke some suspension on the 0-1, so that car sitting still, Lawson unstrapping and getting out right now.
That's a sad day because they had a lot of potential here today for the win.
Here we go. Look at this now. See if we can see. It's the blue Camaro that gets into the BMW, which then gets into.
Yeah, that was the
Porsche.
I think that was Shane Lewis possibly there that got turned. He was leading the race by stopping out.
Lewis in the 12 car.
Carnage ensued.
Porsche started caboose in the GS field due to
one of the Bimmer World
issues.
cars involved as well. That's the 80 machine.
He's off and all out of the car.
So Liddell now shown as the race leader in the number 6. Edwards second in the 46 BMW. Then Chris Wilson in the 07 Aston Martin.
There's Kevin Gleason out of the race. I think his teammate is standing by in pit lane.
Yeah, Kevin Gleason behind the wheel of the 80. Corey Fergus shares that car. And Corey, we were just talking about fuel strategy, and this caution was what you needed. But now that strategy's out the window. What happened with Kevin out in the 80?
It looks like we had an engine go south on us here. Really unfortunate. We've had a great car the whole weekend here, and we were looking to finish pretty strong here. So it's a real disappointment for us. Guess we'll just have to move on to Laguna.
Yeah, they will try to rebound. They had a great run at Daytona, but luck not shining on them here at Sebring.
Yeah, that's a tough way to go out with an engine and nothing much you can do. Boy, these guys are racing hard right now, Cal.
Yes, they are. A lot of sliding
really
around.
Tell you what, that was a great restart by Rob Liddell, taking advantage of John Edwards getting balked a little bit on the entry to turn 1 and whistled it around the outside.
Let's get more on the state of play in the Stevenson team. Darren Laws with Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson from Stevenson Motorsports. You guys, we've been monitoring the radio, and we know there's been some exchanges from Andy Lally to Robin Liddell. They're racing hard. I know they've been competitor for years. Is everything okay between the two?
Well, yeah, they've got some figuring out to do. Obviously, these guys have been competing against each other for, 10 years plus maybe, and they're always door to door, nose to tail. And now it's different. Now they've got to be teammates, and it's going to take them a little while to figure out who's going to be doing what. And they both want to win. They're both competitors, and that's why we have them both on our team. Andy is the best man at my wedding, and I've been best friends with Robin for a long time as well. So they'll figure it out, but we'll make sure we keep an eye on them, too.
And what about Andy's car? I know he got hit and he spun. Tires okay? Flat spotted?
Yeah, steering wheel's kicked sideways a little bit, about 10, 15 degrees, so the toe's knocked out somewhere. It's going to be a struggle to get him home in the top 10, but Andy can drive anything sideways, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
All right, great job, great job. They've still got the car up front with Robin.
And that's a shame that he's knocked that toe out because now all he can do is hold on to it, really. If it doesn't wear the tire out, he can continue on. It's just not going to be up to par as far as its handling ability goes.
Takes a special kind of team manager to smile when the teammates are eyeballing each other, as it were.
Should have seen me and Robbie Gordon if you want to talk about that.
Oh, the stories go on and on and on. We want to set up the big finish that is surely to come here at Sebring, so we'll take a break and return in a moment.
No way.
Oh my gosh. Is that? 11 cars are going to get a 4-minute 50-second. No.
Oh my God.
So they're stopping hold.
Why don't we just pull the whole field and stop? What is this, brake fire? Powerball. That was good, Roger.
That's awesome. This is not good. See the official.
That camera angle makes them look like it's hitting the wall down there. You don't see that it turns back in. It just makes you just start, quenching.
Oh, goodness.
Hey guys, what are they going to handle those penalties out for? That's crazy.
You're going to have the whole
for an
field
illegal
in there.
pass around, Darren.
probably.
I think they're all ST cars.
You know,
I think they are.
One probably started doing it, and then everybody did it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Let's see, 43, 64.
Guess we should ignore ST timing and scoring for a little bit.
Yeah.
So this should try to see which is the closest car to the lead.
Okay, let's see.
422.
No.
Where did
Robin's got the hammer down? He's in the 16th. Oh, massive
Oh,
one!
man!
Oh, that was huge.
That is huge. How the heck did they do that?
That was a big hit.
That's a concrete. That's that concrete abutment, isn't it? Wow. At the bridge?
That was in the bridge.
He's before the bridge, isn't it?
I think it's right at the, right before you go under the bridge. There's a concrete wall that goes like
you're
this.
Right, you're right.
That's where Bill Adam broke the axle on that Porsche and crashed. No, it's, yeah, that's a crossover there. Look at this. There's going to have to drive right through it, too.
Yeah.
No missing that.
Of that group, I guess the most significant might be the 93, which was the, you know, the pole sitting car.
Yeah, but they were a ton of laps down because of the fix.
All the rest of them, I think, started toward the back. 82, 84, 92. So
I don't think there's anyone towards the lead pack. I think it was just a mid-pack thing, everyone.
Yeah, well, you would figure they'd be toward the back if they're getting the wave around. Back at Sebring, we anticipated we might see another yellow flag in the closing stages of round 2 of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, but nothing like the accident that has now put us under a yellow flag. It involves the Mazda MX-5, number 3, driven by Mark Miller, who had just come out of the pits, and on the first lap after the green flag, watch the left side of your screen as the car is nudged off and goes straight into the tire wall, protecting the crossover bridge between turns 5 and 6.
You're going really fast right there. I don't know if maybe an axle broke or something like that. The car turned hard to the right. I didn't see anything behind him. Maybe he got clipped.
He might have got nudged by the 93. It looked like the 93 was trying to split 2 cars there, and they may have had a slight contact, but certainly he sped off in a really high-speed, dangerous part of the racetrack in terms of the implications. You can see the front end has been torn off. What do you hear, Chris?
Cal, I just spoke with the team, and they did say that Mark reported to them he thought he had possibly a tire going down or maybe a wheel loose at the back of the car. So I don't know if he had lifted out of the throttle, and that's maybe when the BMW got into the back of him. But he did report to the team he thought he had a tire going down or maybe a wheel loose.
It looked like a mechanical. It's not a place. Now, this is another wreck that happened just shortly after that with that big wreck on the racetrack. Another big crash happened.
This is after.
Now here's that same car with a brake fire in the pit lane. You see it clearly on fire. So a lot of heat right there. We talk about heat sink when you're sitting in the pits. Watch this.
And this is first lap out. So as he came out of pit lane, this is the first time you're going to need brakes down in turn 3. And obviously nothing was there when he went for that brake pedal and straight off. And your natural instinct, Dorsey, is to straighten off your approach to the corner.
That was James Clay there. You see him standing, so that's good news. He had just taken over the car from Jason Brightus. Brian Till.
I talked to the crew, and James just said, no, the car just did not stop when I went to the brakes. Obviously, as you guys just showed, the brake fire here in pit lane. Now, interesting, though, a lot of times you get those brake fires because you have rubber up inside the wheel, and it's the rubber that actually burns. While I was standing right there, I didn't see anything inside the wheel. That would lead me to believe that there was some type of fluid on the backside of the wheel, maybe around the upright, that was actually burning. It was put out, but as Dorsey, you said, with that heat sink that's in there, when he went back out, certainly as he left pit lane, he checked the pedal. The pedal was up, but when he got over there to the corner and went to the pedal, just nothing was happening. So even though he might have had pedal pressure, the car obviously just did not slow down.
What happens a lot of times is when you're in the pit lane, you've got your foot on the brake pedal, sitting there with the brakes pads up against the rotor. The rotor's screaming hot. It's making the brake pads hot, and it boils the fluid in that one caliper alone. Then if you don't touch your brakes before you go on, that's something you should always do, by the way, when you leave the pits. Pump it a couple times before you get into a brake zone and find out there's nobody at home, which is exactly what we just saw happen.
Now there's Miller's Mazda.
Take another look at this, because watch the black car there in the back of the shot there, the 93 car.
Yeah, I might get into it.
I think there may have been a nudge there. Otherwise, it was very, very close.
With a low rear tire, anything could have happened. I mean, it could have turned off that.
Miller was running slow because he was feeling something amiss with the car, and I don't know whether there was just...
It's a 93 that we're talking about, the black car, that might or might not have got into him.
See the energy generated in the impact as the tires break from their bunches and go flying.
You know, you're just short of the brake zone headed toward the hairpin, so you're in top gear right there, and you've been flat out for a while. That's a big
corner.
Big impact, and of course there's a concrete barrier there behind those tires.
And we have no update on Miller's condition, and we won't speculate, but he was taken from the car and put on a backboard. So we'll update his situation if and when we can. Right now, the cleanup continues, and the clock is now a factor, coming up on 11 minutes remaining in round 2 of the IMSA Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge from Sebring. Hope for the best and be back in a moment. Back at Sebring, still under the yellow flag. Less than 9.5 minutes remaining as the cleanup continues following a pair of accidents, one which brought out the full course caution, one that happened under that caution. Here's a look at a race recap. Beginning with BMW versus Camaro at the start of the race. A lot of contact in the early going.
Patrick Segran there gets turned around down into turn 10 and damage to the left side of the Compass 360 machine.
Setting up for the pass for the lead here as the Mazda works inside B Honda for the lead pass in ST.
Boris said in trouble in the brake zone for turn 7. He might have gone to the ABS or released the pressure enough that he got to the side of John Ferrano and heavy damage to the left front of the Turner machine.
Said brought it around back to the pits, but the car was eventually retired.
Clutch trouble here for the Mustang on the hydraulic end of things, trying to work on the master cylinder.
Then problems for the pole-sitting ST car, the 93 car driven by Chad Gilsinger. Some kind of drive shaft issue on the front end of that Civic.
More action down in the hairpin.
Little bump and run, or at least a bump recover. Got torn off the BMW by one of the Camaros from Stevenson.
Two Stevenson cars battling
And
nose to
here's
tail.
our problem, brake fire. And of course, James comes out of the pits here in a minute and finds rudely he has nothing at home in the brakes.
James Clay desperately trying to get that BMW stopped until the tire wall did it for him.
Not a great feeling.
No, big hit on the passenger side, luckily.
But the current yellow flag brought out by this incident as Mark Miller may have been nudged off the track and straight into the tire wall, protecting the supports for the crossover bridge at mid-track.
It's a huge impact. You see now down there, rebuilding the tire wall, trying to clean up that huge mess, and look at the front end totally torn off this Mazda. Shows you the severity of the impact.
It was a big hit indeed. Coming up on 7 minutes remaining in the race now. Crushable structures at the front end of the car doing what they're designed to do.
In that car or not. I think it is in there, but
Interesting dynamic here at the front of the pack. These two guys leading this race, Rob Liddell and John Edwards, were teammates for a few years at Stevenson.
That's right.
Running the Rolex GT class with a lot of success together, and now they go head to head, so they know each other well, but they're typically not racing against each other.
well, you got 6.5 minutes to go. If they should be able to get back to green, this is going to be a complete crazy restart. Speaking of crazy, that's utterly ridiculous right there.
Utterly ridiculous.
Sorry.
Nice.
Well, this is what Sebring is all about. You know, for many years, crowds in excess of 100,000 would come out to the racetrack. In 1974, the race was not held due to the original gas crisis, but thousands of fans showed up anyway. You know, it's spring break time of year down here in Florida, and Sebring, race or no race, is one of the epic spring break traditions.
And we could be looking at a record crowd here. There's no
Yeah.
doubt. I mean, with the walk-up expected tomorrow, their place is packed.
Kids of the guys in the cow suits have to be so proud.
Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
my dad.
They're sitting around the boardroom, talking with their colleagues.
That's why I don't go in the infield anymore.
I don't know, are they a singing group or a dancing group? Or
All the above. We won't know till about 10 o'clock.
Probably got cowbells.
When the sun goes down at Sebring,
oh boy,
the action ratchets up.
We need to go
That's
back to
why
green
we
before
love
this
this.
gets ugly.
You can't not like this race. If you've never come to Sebring before, this one is just unbelievably fun to do.
Oh, yeah. And a big part of it, of course, is the racetrack, the taxiways and runways of the original Hendricks Field. A lot of racetracks around the world you could go to, and yeah, you could run the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the track where so many great racers have driven, but it has been treated, it's been paved and so on. See those concrete slabs? Those have not changed since Fangio and Jean Debian and Phil Hill and Dan Gurney and Mario Andretti, and you name it, down through history. All the greats who went before you raced on that same piece of pavement that you can race on at Sebring.
Of course, that pavement there, that concrete, poured in 1942, had all the B-17 bombers on it before the race cars ever got here.
We are anticipating possibly seeing a white flag in with 4.5 minutes on the clock. That's about equivalent to a pace lap around here. So
I don't think we'll get a green out of this, to be honest with you.
Well, we'll find out in a moment. If we are finished, we'll be back to sum things up. Another break ahead. Stay with us. We'll be back to Sebring with all the details.
Look at that one. Whew. It used that side up.
I guess you got it flush on the door, which is probably not a bad thing. Yeah.
Try again. Okay, thank you.
Ah! We do know Conti wrap up.
I don't think so. Are we?
I thought we were.
No. If you're really anxious to do it.
Yes.
Florida businessman Alec Ullman came up with the idea to hold the first sports car races at what was then known as Hendrick Field, now Sebring International Raceway, and that straightaway, leading from turn 16 down to 17, is now officially the Alec Ullman Straight. Word has been passed, we will not be going back to green, so the race will be completed this time by.
The drivers are making sure they're not being tricked here. It looks like Liddell and Edwards are certainly trying to clean off their tires, and suddenly nobody's come out on this front straightaway and see the pace car dive into pit lane. That is not happening.
Nobody's told them about it. Well, there's no checker flag. There's still double yellows in the starter's hand, so maybe a white. No white either. Checker. Maybe we spoke prematurely. We got 1 minute left, and they can't get back in 1 minute, guys. There's no way.
No.
Sorry.
Lights are on the pace car.
They will be officially out of time in 50 seconds.
Big day for this new Z28.
Yeah, very big day for the comeback, I should say.
After a very tough debut at round 1 of the season at Daytona International Speedway, they will come back and pick up the first victory for the new Z28R.
In their case, it's probably a good thing there was such a long period of time from Daytona to here, because they've had to.
Yeah. He's never won in Continental before. Wow. I didn't know that.
Who, Robin?
Robin, yeah. He'd never won in Continental before.
I didn't know that either.
Can't believe
you just
Davis
assumed he would have. So it's a Camaro 1-2 followed by BMW. Oh, sorry. That's the pace car.
I like the one with all the lights.
Yeah, I like that lighted one.
Valley's going to be really mad now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that pit report didn't go where I thought it was going to.
Poor old Randy Lally.
Try to see who turned who down in turn 1.
Yeah, I think it's the blue 01 Camaro that started that.
That black Porsche is Shane Lewis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I didn't notice that he'd.
I think the 01 is the first contact into the back of the. Now keep an eye on him.
There we go. Okay. So
This black Porsche?
Yeah.
You know, watch all the way back in the back of the blue car, right there. See, he's popping. He's going to clip the BMW, which is going to clip the Porsche up front, right there.
Yeah, Edwards gets into him first. Edwards hit him. It was Edwards who hit him.
Yeah, but Dorsey, you're saying the 01 got Edwards and Edwards got...
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think the 01 got into the back of Edwards, which got into the back of the...
Just in case. It's right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did
I trust
think
you.
the 01 got into him?
I think you did.
I might question you, but I trust you.
Yeah, look at it one more time. Watch the 6 this time only, Cal. He's going to pop out right there, and I think he clips the back of the BMW, which clips into the back of the... Right there, he turns him. See it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no. Well...
So it was the 01,
They
not
definitely
the
all
6.
three made contact.
Yeah, it's 01.
It's the 01 next
It's the 01, yeah.
And he winds up against the fence with Lewis.
You're right about one thing, right? I mean, they all three made contact, but I don't know which of the two hit first. If the BMW got the Porsche.
Back at Sebring, time has run out. As you see, the safety car still out ahead of the field, meaning we will finish under a yellow flag here at round 2 of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. Not the way we would have liked, but after a massive accident that brought out that extended yellow flag, we will not be going back to green flag racing. So congratulations to Robin Liddell and Andrew Davies, who each picks up his first win in the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge. That's Andrew Carbonell. He and teammate Randy Popes will celebrate victory, the 7th career win for Popes, 4th for Carbonell.
Eric Foss comes across the line in 3rd spot, so good points for the championship leaders coming into this weekend.
We have word that Mark Miller, whose crash brought out the yellow flag, has been taken to the infield medical center.
That's what all these drivers are thinking about right now. Instead of, I just won the race. Nobody wants to end on the yellow, but they're going to, really be concerned after seeing a crash of that magnitude and going by that debris field a couple times now.
Comes Andy Lally to have a chat with Robin.
Yeah.
Time for our Audi move of the race.
The outside lane for Robin Liddell. He takes the wide sweep here, and it all gets stacked up on the inside. I think the 01 might have got into John Edwards there, who then got into Shane Lewis and turned him. Clear sailing for Robin Liddell. Great performance.
That was one case where the inside lane was not where you wanted to be.
Now, updating the Mark Miller situation. We are informed officially he is awake and alert and will be transferred to a local hospital for observation. We certainly wish him the best after that big impact with the tire wall on the infield section. An opportunistic move gives Robin Liddell, his teammate, and the new Camaro Z28R a first victory.
Car looks strong.
Yeah, it
Car
does.
Very strong. I'd love to have seen a shootout between these guys at the end, and obviously most importantly that Mark Miller is okay, but ending under caution with so much potential is not the way you want to see it.
Andrew Carbonell, another victory for the Mazda MX-5.
They were strong here. Boy, Mazdas were really dominant in that ST class.
We'll be going to victory lane in a moment. I want to remind you that the next round of the Continental Tire SportsCar Challenge here on Fox Sports will be from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, Wednesday, May 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 2. We'll be back to Sebring for victory lane ceremonies. Stay with us.
of stuff getting in the wrong folder.
What he's driving through, but it makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Just getting pickup
Just
so
off
you
the
don't
cloud.
have any.
Yeah.
Like they have
Make sure you make weight.
Ride height and weight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. You gonna do a victory lap? I'm just.
Whoops. No point now, huh?
Oh, he throws it out. Oh, Rick.
Checkered flags aren't what they used to be.
No, I'd say not.
The flag ripped off the pole, so he just dropped the pole.
Ah, the fans do it. Not really. I wonder if they're going to have words, him and Randy Lally.
That's 2 of 3 falls.
Yeah. Andy's an MMF guy. He's taking.
That's right, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Had the cauliflower ear and all that. And then you got an Irishman that just wants to go there anyway. There's the leader. It's a good day for those boys. Freedom.
Back at Sebring International, race complete. Post-race ceremonies and celebrations now beginning. Let's get down to Chris Neville.
Robin Liddell, Andrew Davis coming away with the win here. Big smiles, big congratulations. Robin, you guys had a tough start to the year back at Daytona, but you bounced back, get the victory here at Sebring.
Yeah, I mean, I've had full confidence in the program with this new Chevy Camaro Z28. Obviously, GM fully behind the program, Stevenson Motorsports, all the guys that we know and love from the team that I've worked with for 6 years. You know, credit to John Stevenson for getting his weight behind this. But yeah, and back with Andrew Davis, obviously, and here we are back in Victory Circle. It's pretty cool. Obviously, the win was a little bit lame there, finishing under caution, but you know, had made a good restart, got around John in the BMW into turn 1. That's really what it came down to. Got a big lead, and then obviously a nasty accident. Hopefully the guy's okay, and you know, just thoughts with them. And yeah, obviously we're happy to get a win. It vindicates the program and the decisions that GM and all the support people have made to put it, you know, put the effort behind this program.
Mid-race, we were listening to Andy Lally talk about kind of the battle going on between the two of you. Anything going on between the team here?
No, of course there's some friendly rivalry. I mean, Andy's a fierce competitor, raced against him for years. I think I've got, you know, I've been involved in this development process with the C28 right from the beginning, right from when the car first rolled out the shop. I've driven it, I've been involved in its sort of development and so on, probably more than the other guys. So obviously, I kind of, you know, I've had more time in the car than the other guys. And yeah, but we were having a good battle and, you know, just trying to keep it clean. But, you know, he let us by eventually and it worked out well for us.
And Andrew, even though Camaro comes away with the win today, those BMWs still strong.
They're very strong. Yeah, you could see that at the first stint especially. They drove away from us. But, you know, just a thrill to be back with Stevenson Motorsports. What an honor to be asked back with my great buddy, Robin Liddell, and back on the top step of the podium with him. It really means a lot to me just on a personal level. And my first win here at Sebring as well, as much time as I've spent here. So just thrilled, so happy for the Stevenson crew, for Chevy, for Pratt & Miller, all the help. Thanks to everybody.
Congratulations. Brian?
Oh, and it's Mazda and ST. They were strong throughout the weekend. Randy Pope's coming over here now to celebrate with teammate Andrew Carbonell. Randy the Rocket Man back in victory lane here at Sebring. Great opening stint for you. You know, the guys in the booth were talking about, we all expected a lot of cautions in the beginning. We didn't get them up front. Were you out there looking for cautions too as far as strategy goes?
Not at all. The Freedom Autosport Mazda MX-5 is a car that runs good on a long run. It's light and it's agile and it's a real sports car. And so a long run was good for us. The Continental tires really hang in there on the MX-5. It's a good marriage. And so I just knew I had to keep the car clean. And my problem was in practice, I'm braking way too hard. And Andrew, this punk kid, whose dad I used to race with, he's lecturing me on, oh, easy, Randy, go soft. And so I didn't want to get too aggressive. I wanted to leave Andrew a car he could go win with. And I just have got to say thanks to the entire Freedom Autosport team and Mazda. And our big goal is to support the Semper Fi Fund that supports military families and people all over the country. It's great to make that a part of it.
Well, congratulations. And Andrew, I don't know if there's anything that Randy didn't say, but for you in that final stint, you had to deal with a couple of restarts. And I know that the strength of the Mazda is not the acceleration. What were you thinking when we went back to green those times?
What worked out great was that when I came out, I had a good enough lead thanks to my co-driver here, Randy, and was able to maintain that and at the same time kind of maintain the car, have it there for me at the end. And it kind of worked out perfect. I was expecting a caution. We got the caution. Thankfully, we still had a car under. Mazda MX-5 was great. The Continental tires held in there till the end. I mean, I couldn't ask for more.
Congratulations on the victory. Let's check back in with Chris.
Well, a little bit of disappointment on the face of John Edwards and Trent Himmin down here. Both drivers, great run today, but John, in that caution, the green flag dropped, and you really got beat up there. What happened when you went back to green?
Well, I mean, it's a huge disappointment. I hate to be disappointed for second, but, you know, we had that race, and Trent did an awesome job. Gave me the lead that I could, you know, protect my tires. But on the restart, the 12 got close to the safety car. Looked like he was going to pass him, so I didn't want to get caught out with a penalty of passing the safety car before it was into the lane. So I lifted a little bit, which gave Robin the run. I still thought I could stay inside him for turn one, but the 12 car hit the brakes, and with Robin on my right, 12 car there, I had nowhere to go except straight into him. And glad the accident wasn't bigger than it was, but still a disappointment for us to finish second, and I know a bigger disappointment for some other cars to get put out of the race.
Yeah, not happy with second place down here, but strong result for the team early in the year.
Well, no doubt they have a lot of reason to be disappointed. They really did have that race seemingly in hand, but that's why they run the races. Now let's go to Brian Till and talk about ST again.
Well, we talked about what a big day for Mazda it is. Stephen McAleer, Chad McCumbee, you come home second. And Stephen, for you had that opening stint as well. But to sit here in the pits and watch these restarts go down, especially there at the end with your teammate Mark Miller having the incident on the racetrack, what was going through your mind when you watched that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, overall for us, it's a bittersweet ending today. You know, our ModSpace MX-5 was super car all weekend. Continental tires never dropped off, and you know, we were able to push the entire way through the field. You know, they kept giving me feedback on where we were, you know, how far we were off. But unfortunately, you know, at the end there with Mark's accident, it looked like a pretty big hit, probably, you know, 115 mile an hour or so. We've heard he's okay. He said he's got some back problems, and but he's up and awake, and I'm sure he's texting us saying congratulations. So hopefully he's fine.
And Chad, you had that finishing stint out there, and we talked about restarts with Andrew Carbonell with his victory. The Mazda seems much better suited for this Sebring racetrack than it was at Daytona.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and that's one thing about our platform. Our Mazda handles so well everywhere, and we look for twisty turning places. And I tell you, coming from an oval race background, this is a big milestone for me. And as Steven said, I mean, our ModSpace car was so good, and he did such a phenomenal job driving it to the front. I just had to cruise it home, and really the Continental tires were so good they didn't fall off. Our car wasn't hard on them. You know, it's a for sure blessing, and got to thank the good Lord above for all the opportunities. And we are thinking of Mark, though. Word ours, he is okay. So I feel okay about that. I hate he took that hit, though. Really thinking about him right now.
Congratulations, guys.
Properly subdued. Well done. 2 rounds into the championship, time to check championship points. Unofficially, Hinman and Edwards leading in GS.
Yeah, essentially 2 runner-up finishes. They finished 3rd on the road at Daytona, but got promoted with the DQ for the Turner Motorsports car there. So they're in the points battle, but disappointed not to get that first victory, I'm sure.
Ashley Freiberg and Shelby Blackstock. A tough race after that victory, what seems like forever ago at Daytona. In the ST class, Jeff Mosing and Eric Foss up top, as you predicted they would be close to the end of that race, Calvin.
Yeah, I mean, they had the podium finish here today and backing that up off a great win at Daytona, so they look strong. They got a championship charge going early, Doss.
Remember, we're only on the 2nd round here, boys. We're talking chance points for the rest of the year, but fireworks here at Sebring, I'll tell you.
Yep. We expect them, and we certainly got them today. Congratulations to our winners. Once again, the next round of the championship will be coming your way Wednesday, May 7th, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 2 from Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, another track that always provides a lot of action. So we'll be seeing you then. For now, thanks for joining us from beautiful Sebring, Florida. For Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till, Chris Neville, and Darren Law, I'm Bob Varsha. See you from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in May. Until then, so long from legendary Sebring International Raceway.